You don't even know that.
I do know that because they said that.
Wait, hold on. No. Donald Trump came out and basically said that this was like not disinformation, was BS. And
Donald Trump, the guy being investigated, said that the investigation was BS, so we should have dropped everything? No, hold on. It's an analogy. It's an analogy.
I'm not going to believe anything.
Hello. Stop saying. Wait, no, stop. You stop. Don't say, this feels like this, or I feel like you're doing this, blah, 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 blah. I just want to deal in only facts. And wait, only facts. Do you think that if Donald Trump says Pence can throw away the election results through some esoteric legal theory, that's allowed, do you think that's an okay thing then?
If the vice president has the power to do that, then I don't see why that's an issue.
Al Gore did not have a basis to do it in 2000. Kamala Harris shouldn't be able to do it in 2024, but I think you should do it today.
I think that people that support Donald Trump or try to argue in favor of the January 6th stuff, in my opinion, are probably some of the least patriotic people that have ever existed in the history of the United States, save for communists and Civil War fighters. I just don't. I hate this topic so much because I actually get so unbelievably incensed. And rereading large parts, and I was reading more off stream of that J6 commission. There are things that I don't think I can say because if you say things about politicians or presidents or whatever, you can get FBI arrested. I think it's truly despicable. Some of the most insanely partisan I think I've ever seen, probably in my entire life, I think. Am I crazy, or did you used to give the take that if Trump was right about election fraud memes, then January 6th is justifiable? As you research, here's the things that make that unfortunate. One is, at this point, you could probably go back and find VODs. I think I'm probably on video saying Trump might actually believe that the election was stolen from him. I don't think he believes that. Not with everything that's come out now after all the hearings, I don't think Trump thinks the election was stolen. I think he knows that the election was legitimate. Number one. And number two, the people in the media that have a responsibility to be informing you of things on the government, not be working alongside them, also knew. I'll look into this more. I should taper my opinion maybe, or not taper, I should moderate my opinion a bit maybe, because I remember the full context of the quotes. But my understanding is that people at Fox News knew that Donald Trump was also lying, but they chose to repeat that lie for their viewers. But it's infuriating. That's just an unbelievable, unacceptable set of circumstances. It should never happen. That you work in the media and you're lying on behalf to maintain good connections with the president so you can suck up to your partisan base. That's unbelievable to me. But I should look in more. Well, I'll put this actually here. I should look in more to the Dominion voting case to just so I can get the full, maybe I'm missing something there if I'm being super charitable. Do you blame the people that stormed the Capitol or the people that indoctrinated them? Here is an issue that I have. The people that indoctrinated them are bad. Trump, the lawmakers, and the media. But the people were there at every step of the way. I don't understand how. I don't understand. The problem is too, for a lot of you guys, I want to talk to old Republicans, maybe. Because I don't care if you're 20, you're not a Republican, you're a kid, you don't know anything, right? Like a 20-year-old Trump fan, you don't know anything. I want to talk to, how do you go from Bush to Trump in 8 years? That, I don't know if you understand, you don't, if you're young. If you're under 24, I don't think you understand how huge a shift. That is that is a Grand Canyon of moral difference, of policy difference. It is unbelievable. Could one black president f your brain that hard? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it was racism. The chasm between a neocon and a Trump populist is unbelievable. I just can't. Yeah, I don't know. Your mom and dad did exactly that, though. Yeah, I don't understand them. I've told you all my stories about them. I can't understand it. People keep blaming Obama, but Republicans could have voted for Cruz. They could have voted for Rubio. Christie, maybe? No, not Christie. Kasich? There were 3 other options on stage. Trump crushed them. My mom was a Reagan Bush Republican all her life. Post 2016, she's now QAnon. Was at J6, not in the building. And it's actually fucking insane. Yeah, bro, my mom too. Yeah, bro, when I hear like Reagan is an American fucking hero and Jimmy turned the other cheek Carter, my mom would call him, the hatred for the Democrats and the simping for every Gorbachev tear down this wall. My mom used to cry when she would tell me stories like this. To go from all of that to the Trump shit is just unbelievable. It's just such an unbelievable change. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think about it too much. I can't think about it. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Jesus Christ. I mean, there are reasons, and we can go through them all, and it makes sense sequentially. It's just, it's like that one, what's that statistics fallacy where if you have a 1% fail rate on a test that tests for a very rare disease and you test 100,000 positive cases, even with a 1% fail rate, 95% of the cases will actually be false positives, even if you have a 1% false positive rate per test or whatever. There's a name for this fallacy in stats. But it's like you look at this and you're like, okay, mathematically it makes sense. Bayes' theorem. I thought there was or not fallacy, I'm sorry, I'm calling it fallacy. There's a name for this like unintentional thing. I don't remember what it's called. But LeMayo, Destiny has TDS so bad, ... The fact that you guys have even coped with your own name for people with criticism of Donald Trump so that you can, it's like, it's the ultimate example of a self-reinforcing, externally invalidating echo chamber. The fact that you've got that term, the Donald syndrome, or I'm sorry, Trump derangement syndrome, it like perfectly fits to where it's not just enough that you only believe your own people. You also like actively work to discredit any external voice. And the fact that you even have a name for it, it's like, oh, that guy's too critical of Donald Trump. Oh, he's got Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, that guy. Oh, he's Trump derangement. Oh, that guy. Oh, he's Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, that guy. Oh, he's Trump derangement. What about Obama derangement syndrome? Right? What about What about the Dijon mustard and the tan suit and your obsession over trying to prove that Michelle Obama is a trans woman? Like, Jesus, yeah. Oh, it's called Simpson's Paradox. That might be what it's called. Yeah. You're on your way to a permaban. If you don't give me a really good answer, you got about 1 minute. Why is Destiny creating an entire frame through which he is fact-finding about J6? It may be unintentional, but he's blatantly conceding the framing of the event to whatever the liberal narrative is. Well, give me, what else? What am I missing in here? The biggest thing that I've heard from the other side is that like people like Ray Epps were planted the whole time, the FBI narrative. And then I've heard like the prosecutions were unfair. These are two things that I've included here. And then also, what were the actions of the oath breakers, right? These are the pro-Republican narratives, or the idea that the BLM riots inspired, conservatives, and COVID lockdowns had everybody restless. That maybe states where their electoral process was flawed or something. I've written it as undermining here, I guess, which is a negative framing for my part. But I mean, we'll do the reading on it. But like. Okay, I was so happy because I got an email. Tell me what's going on, okay? I got an email this morning, okay? I almost stopped gooning, okay? I was close to launching, okay, my 12-rope shot all over the fucking wall, okay? Because I got yen deposited in my PayPal from Mt. Gox. 200,000 yen. And I'm like, hell yes. Oh my God, they finally paid everything out. But then I checked, and that's... it's like 1,400 USD. What's going on? Did they pay out everything, or are they doing this in in steps, or? But I can't believe I got anything. They're doing it. Wait, no. I thought we were gonna get so much more money. Is that it? I thought I was getting like 40K. Hold on. Do your parents distrust modern medicine or just the vaccines? Oh. I went to my, first of all, every Trump voter no longer trusts any vaccines. That's a given, okay? 95% probably will never take a vaccine in the next like 5 or 10 years, okay? So that's a given, number one, okay? I pulled that number out my ass, by the way. So my dad has type 2 diabetes. And I was arguing with him last night over... No, I wasn't arguing with him. I was just asking him how he's doing because I'm curious. Because I've heard that, like, also, firstly, my dad's lost a lot of weight. He's like 30 or 40 pounds in the past like year or two. So congratulations. He looks significantly different. He's like he's lost quite a bit of weight. I'm like, that's cool. Good job. And I know that losing weight is a really good walk towards back to becoming non-diabetic. I think you can do that. I think with dietary changes and with weight loss, I think you can become non-diabetic again. I think it's possible to get back there. Not I think. There's like research that shows that. And yeah, so he was like, I'm like, oh, how's your diabetes going? He's like, yep, still type 2 diabetic. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, he wears a little thing to monitor his blood sugar. And I'm like, oh, are you, like, do you, like, take insulin when it's too high or blah, blah, blah? And he says, no, I don't ever take insulin. I'm like, what do you mean you never take insulin? He's like, well, once you take insulin, you become dependent on it. And I'm like, okay. Don't think that's true. And he says that sometimes his blood sugar will be like pretty high and he'll but it's okay. And then he starts talking about how like when he takes when he takes insulin, or he knows friends that take insulin, their blood sugar is too low and you can go into like a shock and die because your blood sugar is too low. And I'm like, okay. So, and then I asked him like, well, what do you do when your blood sugar is too high? And he's like, oh, I just like kind of chill and I just won't eat as much later on. And I'm like, what do you mean you just chill? And he's like, well, if your blood sugar is too low because you take insulin, it'll kill you. But if your blood sugar is too high, it like doesn't do anything. And I'm like, okay. And then I asked him like, do you want my feedback on this at all? Because I don't want to like say anything if it's gonna like, I don't want to, if this is how you want to do your shit, that's fine. He's like, yeah, sure. What do you think? I'm like, well, having high blood sugar is like toxic for literally your entire body. You're killing your whole body. And he's like, well, no, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm like, okay, well, have you ever heard of like diabetic neuropathy or? And he's like, oh yeah, I have. I've heard of that. And I'm like, do you ever get like numbness, like anywhere, like in your fingers or toes? And he's like, yeah, like my toes and feet have been like completely numb for years. And I'm like, okay. That can lead to getting body parts cut off, can it? Yes. I believe that if you have high blood sugar, your glucose levels in your blood are very high. I think that, I don't know why or what happens, but the itty bitty, I don't know if they're capillaries that feed your nerves, eventually those start to get corroded and die, or maybe the sugar causes inflammation and then it squeezes the blood vessels shut and they die. And as that happens, all the nerves start to die. And that's, I think, neuropathy is the death of your nerves, right? Diabetic-induced neuropathy. So what'll happen is usually it's your extremities first because they've got like the smallest things or something. And then as the nerves and everything start to die, I believe that the body parts become, is it gangrenous or gangrene or whatever? And then eventually you have to amputate it because it's like you're, yeah. Oh, necrotic maybe? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. I think necrotic is it, maybe. Maybe you can convince him to get on liraglutide by convincing him it's just a good version of semaglutide and tirzepatide. The pharma companies don't want you to use because it's off patent. Yeah, I don't know. How do you avoid getting type 2 diabetes? Probably keep your BMI in the ordinary range. It's probably like the number one thing you can do, I think. Neuropathic means like pain transmitted through the nerves. Is that what that means? Neuropathy. Happens when nerves are located outside of the brain and spinal cord and are damaged. No, neuropathy I think is specifically damage to nerves, right? I just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. They don't want to put me on insulin because according to the doctor, I'll pretty much have to stay on it. They give me metformin and semaglutide to control my blood glucose. obviously listen to your doctor before anything that I say, okay? But the, let me see, can I take guesses here? My lack of any medical knowledge. I doubt that putting you on insulin itself will necessarily make you dependent on it for the rest of your life. My guess is going to be that putting you on insulin and then you maintaining your current dietary habits, which is going to call for regular insulin injections, that over time would probably make you dependent on exogenous insulin. That'd be my guess. But I don't know if taking insulin every now and then is bad for you if you need it, if your blood sugar is high. But it probably depends on how much insulin you need or what your blood sugar is and everything. Yeah, that'd be my guess. Exogenous insulin is bad for the body, but it's not as bad as having high blood sugar. Yeah, that's every single medication ever. It has side effects, but hopefully the side effects are not as bad as the underlying condition they're treating going away, hopefully. My best friend almost died because he got sudden type 1 diabetes and literally temporarily lost his vision, speech, and almost went into a coma. If you lose your vision because of diabetes, type 1 diabetes, do you get that back? I thought that your vision goes because you have is it ocular degeneration? I don't know what the it's called. Diabetes, eyes, impact. Diabetic retinopathy? Macular edema. Cataracts and glaucoma. Diabetic. Once this happens, I don't think your vision ever comes back, right? Doesn't it just like... Because the shit is just dead at that point, right? Insulin is so expensive, it's pretty wild. One of my medications costs like $700 for 3 to 4 months. My parents are on, is it called TRICARE? They're like retired military, so. Not to spam, but just want to make sure you're ready for conservatives to bring up the voting changes made in states like PA. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm type 1 and I take 4 insulin injections daily. Yeah, if you're type 1 diabetic, you have to take insulin injections because I think it's the beta cells of your pancreas that ordinarily create insulin are being killed by your body. I think type 1 diabetes, I think, is an autoimmune disease. Yeah. I don't know if you build an insulin resistance over time, though, or if type 1 diabetes, health outcomes with treatment. One is insulin dependent and the other is not. Kind of. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes it's weird. I don't really think they have anything to do with one another, though. The diseases are completely different. I'm not sure why they're both called diabetes. When you eat food and it's digested and broken down, your blood sugar increases as the food is digested and injected into your bloodstream. When your blood sugar is high, your glucose levels are high, your body produces insulin to take the extra blood sugar because high blood sugar in the hypoglycemia, it's high blood sugar, I think, right? High blood sugar is toxic to your body, so it'll shove the sugar, the excess sugar, into your fat cells, right? After I think your glycogen stores in your liver are like filled up, and then you've got like whatever blood sugar, it shoves it in, right? If you're a type 1 diabetic, then the pancreas, the beta cells in the pancreas that produce insulin, which is the thing that shoves the fat in, right? That's killed because your autoimmune disease, your immune system kills your beta cells in your pancreas and you can't make insulin. So that's what a type 1 diabetic is. You have to get exogenous insulin because your body doesn't make it and the high blood sugar will kill you eventually. So I think if you're like a type 1 diabetic and you don't take exogenous insulin, I think you die within like a decade or two, I think. I think you do. I think you die really fast. Type 1 diabetes with no treatment from birth, I think you die very quickly. Type 2 diabetes is over long periods of time. I think when your body is producing insulin, as you eat more and more food and you become more and more obese and your body has so much sugar in it over and over and over again, eventually, like when your cells see insulin come to like shove fat in, your cells are like, off, bro. You're here all the time. And your pancreas has to make more and more insulin because now you need like 2 guys knocking on the door or 3 or 4 instead of just the 1 guy before, which is okay. Your body can make more insulin. But at some point, your cells are so annoyed and resistant to the insulin, your body can't produce enough to actually clean up all the excess blood sugar. And then at this point, this is, I think, once you hit a certain level of insulin resistance, you go from pre-diabetic to diabetic. At that point, your blood sugar levels remain high and toxic and your body can't produce enough insulin anymore to clean it all up. So you need exogenous insulin. So you start pumping insulin in your body externally in order to make sure you have enough to clean it up. But if you keep eating, you keep doing this, like you can, I don't know what the limit is, but like you can't just inject an infinite insulin, but like typically just it's worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. Why should I vote? Everyone says it's so important and that not voting is like giving my vote to someone I don't support. But if we have a multiple party system, isn't voting without knowing all policies of a party the same as potentially giving my vote to those I don't support rather than staying out of voting until I know more? Why not just vote for the people you like more? I don't know. They're not called diabetes because the effect on the blood sugar level is the same. Oh, maybe. Can you get type 2 diabetes from not eating poorly? I don't know. I've heard that there are heritability things around type 2 diabetes, but I'm pretty sure that like the biggest risk factor for type 2 diabetes is becoming overweight. Isn't it that your pancreas gets exhausted and stops producing enough insulin? It's not just that. No, it's not just that. Actually, I don't even think that's what type 2 diabetes is characterized. I don't think it's characterized by your pancreas not producing enough insulin. I think it's characterized by something called insulin resistance, which is when your cells just don't see it as much anymore. And you need more and more to shove in the same amount. Your pancreas might give up eventually. I don't actually know, maybe. But diabetics need diabetic stocks to up with circulation. Type 1 is inherited. Type is usually contributed by diet, etc. Type 2 can be controlled. Diabetes dependence eventually leads to kidney failure. You mean insulin dependence? Maybe. Oh, that might be another thing too, actually, that if you're starting to inject a fuck ton of exogenous insulin into your body, I think eventually it will fuck with your kidneys because your kidneys won't be able to clean it out and then they get fucked too. And then eventually you'll have kidney failure. Renal failure? Is that kidney failure? And you'll need dialysis and you die or whatever. There's genetic factors that can tolerate bad diets better or worse, but no, type 2 will always come down to bad diet no matter how long that bad diet went on for. I think that might be true. Like if you eat a normal diet and you exercise and stuff, I don't think you can get type 2 diabetes. Routine spikes of sugar can lead to pre-diabetic symptoms, which will eventually fuck you. I thought that, and then Jacob one of our lifter flares was linking me shit, and apparently glycemic index stuff, like eating food that spikes your blood sugar, as long as you're not insulin resistant or pre-diabetic or whatever, apparently it doesn't matter at all. Apparently it has no effect whatsoever. Yeah. Type 1, since I was 8, it gets old explaining the difference. Everyone just says, oh, you'll be fine if you eat better. Nah, this is permanent. Yeah. Yeah, I remember making this joke a long time ago. I don't say it's kind of mean, but like if I was a type 1 diabetic, I think I would get irritated being called diabetic. Because like, listen, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm nothing like a type 2 diabetic. Okay? Don't loop me in with the fat insulin, okay? My shit is fucked, okay? It's not a fair comparison. I would be triggered if I was a type 1 diabetic. I don't think I would ever say I'm type 1 diabetic, actually. I think if somebody asked me, it's like, oh, you take insulin or what's going on, blah, blah. I think I would say, oh, I have an autoimmune disease. I would say that. I don't think I would ever identify as type 1 diabetic. Shit. I don't want to be grouped with the type 2s. Ever. Why did I thought I read something. I thought I was going to get like $30,000. Why did I only get like 1.9K? Why did I think I read something different? Had over 2 Bitcoin and got a lump payment of $1,000. What a crock of shit. Fuck me, I'm so triggered. What happened to Mt. Gox? It was just a Bitcoin exchange that went down a long time ago. And by went down, I mean probably scammed their people, I think. And then there's like all of us that had coins on Mt. Gox were, we've been waiting for like 10 years to get our money back. And it was always like a meme. Like there's subreddit where like people are like, oh, today's going to be the day, blah, blah, blah. And they finally today, like 5 or 10 years after they went bankrupt, have finally started paying people back. And I got my payment back, but for some reason I thought it was gonna be like 10 times as much, whatever. I will say I've been on Monjuro for less than a year and I'm down 70 pounds, so if y'all can find any, definitely take it. It helps with blood sugars as well. In summary, 100% of cash balances on Mt. Gox will be paid in full, and 20% of Bitcoin balances as their cash value at the time of commencement and civil rehabilitation. What is the time of commencement, though? Is that when repayment happens, or is that like 10 years ago when they figured their court shit out? When am I getting it? 2023 Destiny Awards, true. Oh, I need to watch the whole... I think Tucker Carlson has done like a lot of instructive media poisoning on this. It's probably going to be worth it to watch his shit. Who are you preparing to debate? It's going to be Alex Jones and Glenn Greenwald. Also, I need to prepare for my Ben Shapiro debate too, because I'm probably going to fly back and do that next, assuming it doesn't get moved. So we should do all of this. Okay, we need to be in. We need to get in the mode, okay? If you're going to do a J6 debate, it should probably be a BLM insurrection plus J6 riot debate, considering how the former much led to the latter. The BLM wasn't an insurrection. I don't remember BLM trying to overturn elections anywhere. Feel free to link me something if I forgot. What do you say when someone brings up the protesters were peaceful when they went inside the Capitol building? Many were let in by the Capitol Police. The no part of the, literally no part of the J6 conversation has anything to do with if most of the protesters were peaceful or not. Nobody even cares about that for any protests. That is a red herring and a cope. Because when you talk to Republicans and you go, oh, what do you think about the BLM stuff? They'll go, those were riots, unprecedented damage, blah, blah, blah. You go, oh, well, what about the fact that like 93% of the protests were peaceful? Like nobody, that talking point is irrelevant. That's a cope talking point. Fracture just got in. Did Destiny get red pilled on J6 yet? The things that I would want to say relating to Donald Trump and J6 would get me permabanned off of every single platform. If you're a conservative and you're here hoping that my opinion on J6 is going to change significantly, unless there is a whole treasure trove of evidence or documents that I've never seen before, yeah, you're definitely not in the right place, okay? Listen, if you're a fan I picked up in the Rittenhouse era, okay? Time to take a week or two off stream, okay? Just to be clear, I'm sorry. Prior to Donald Trump, McCain had really high standing in the Republican Party, didn't he? Or am I misremembering this? Most Republicans, I'm trying to think if most Republicans liked McCain prior to Donald Trump. My mom, I don't even know if, I'm going to be honest, my mom liked Sarah Palin more than McCain, but I'm trying to think if I ever remember my mom saying anything bad about McCain. Ever. I feel like that didn't happen. Did people know that McCain was going to vote no here? Was this known ahead of time, or was this a surprise vote?
Mr. Peters.
Jesus.
Mr. Portman.
That's a big deal. Nobody talks, and if you're a Brit bong, you're like, oh, what, we do this all the time. But in the US, like Congress, we just don't make noise that much. It was a surprise vote.
Mr. Reed.
This was the, am I wrong, or was that like the one vote that caused the replace part to miss? Am I wrong on that? I thought this vote was meaningful for some reason. I don't remember. Wasn't this like the one that caused, like, they were able to repeal it but not replace it or something because of this one vote or something? Look at Schumer telling people to shut up. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Mr. Risch.
Only took him having cancer or something to change his mind? I don't know, man. Was McCain always a teasing guy, or was he a piece of shit? I still remember the,
We're scared. We're scared of
He is a decent person and
with such as air.
he be scared.
I do not believe in, I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
he's not Arab. He's decent. Come on. I know that's not what I meant it, but arguably McCain's choice of Palin was the genesis of the MAGA movement. You know what? I bet you could make I bet you could make an esoteric argument. I bet it wouldn't even be that esoteric. I bet you could make an argument because I feel like, let's see, I'm digging deep into my feelings here. I'm trying to think of like how important was people like Palin or the people that supported Palin for like the Tea Party stuff. I'm trying to think. Probably not that much. Because Palin wasn't like a big libertarian person. She was just like a populist. Like, look, it's a dumb person, but she's like cute and funny and says shit. Did Palin have early involvement in the Tea Party? I feel like I want to say yes, but I can't think of any examples. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. She was too stupid at that. Yeah, she didn't like do like politics. She just like had like funny one-liners and shit. The Tea Party was pushed by Fox News. It was also picked up a lot by people like Glenn Beck and shit too. She heard him. She propagated the Obamacare death panels thing. Yeah, but that was like every Republican. Republicans making fun of McCain's prisoner of war story is crazy. I have only ever heard that after Trump. That was one of the moments, by the way. That was the larger moment for me as a history of being a conservative. A lot of people talk about like the grab him by the pussy shit or whatever. That's like, okay, that was really bad, obviously. I thought that would have been a deal breaker. But in my life, I thought the biggest deal breaker for Trump was going to be the making fun of McCain.
Somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, you know, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay?
I thought that's like, you're completely done. You're gonna make fun of a war hero and his like prisoner of war torture treatment? Like, no shot does that ever fly. In the Republican Party, bro? You're crazy. Attacking people's military records is like, who is a POW? No way. Yeah, but Republicans didn't give a like zero principles at all. They didn't give a fuck about that. Everybody like cheered it on. I was like, no shot. There was like a little bit of bristling. They were a little bit uncomfortable, and then they just like moved on from it. Was Trump one of those like flat footers or whatever? Like the guys that say like, I can't be drafted, my feet are flat. I'm trying to remember if he was one of those or not, but I thought he was done during the retard journalist thing when he mimicked him live in a speech and made the dir hand movements. No, why? Who cares? Republicans wouldn't care about that. Oh, bone spurs. How does your thank you for your service mom reconcile Trump's comments on McCain? I'm not sure. It's actually, especially when I visited my mom over Christmas, her short-term memory stuff is like noticeably worse now. And now when I listen to her talk about politics, now instead of it being like frustrating, now it's just really, really, really sad. So I don't know. I can't talk with her about politics anymore. It's gonna like f my mind up. Like it'll make me break down or something. So she just does her stuff. I let her do her thing. Are you afraid of Alzheimer's now? Kind of, yeah. I think I've had like the past like week has just been kind of weird for me. I also, this is so stupid also. I hate talking about like mushrooms and shit because all my problems are like weirdly like existential and like alone in the universe, like dumb, like ego death shit. Watching movies that have like huge elements of like people going crazy or getting being trapped in other universes like fucks with my head way more now than it did before I did mushrooms. And I think watching Steins Gate, which is time travel, which is really weird, and then watching Madoka Magica, which had somebody like disappear into the universe forever, and then talking to my mom a lot yesterday, yeah, it sent me down a really weird mindfucky schizo route. Yeah, I'm not sure. What happened to the report that you're reading? The J6 report is here. I'm just getting all the background on the report first, because I want to know, like, because I have a feeling that people are going to try to remember. Echo chamber means that you don't deal with the facts. It means that you reject the authority of the fact givers. So I imagine that a lot of this J6 commission, my guess is going to be most people like Alex Jones aren't even going to contend with the facts. They're just going to say, oh, well, the whole commission was biased. The whole commission was bullshit. So I need to know the background on how it was created, who was selected for what reason, so that I can counter that talking point if it comes up. Yeah. Is it that bad for the person? Since they don't really know, it seems much harder in the person and the people around them. No, people with Alzheimer's disease have a lot of have a lot of like highly correlated comorbidities. Is it comorbidity if it's not killing you? Things like depression and a whole bunch of other things. It's not fun to have Alzheimer's disease. My grandma had it and died like a year after being diagnosed. Yeah, for some reason it progresses way differently with different people. I had a friend who had Alzheimer's disease. Their mom did. Wait, have any other streamers talked about their moms having Alzheimer's disease? Yeah, there's a friend that I talked to a lot. Her mom got diagnosed at the same time as my mom, and I think her mom is in a home now. She's like completely, totally gone. So her mom progressed way quicker than mine. So yeah. Is there any way of preventing or messing the chance of getting Alzheimer's? I think there's a lot of stuff that can prevent, well, I say this. I think the two that I've read the most, you can go read this if you want, but I believe that it's, I believe that the two are, I think it's sleep and exercise are like the two things that are super highly correlated with developing it later in life, I believe. Best ways to avoid getting Alzheimer's disease. Let me check. Somebody said environment also affects the progression. My understanding is that right now, once you've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, once the disease is progressing, absolutely nothing you do will stall the progression. There's literally nothing that's been shown to do that so far, except for a few of the drugs that are being trialed right now. My cousin's a pharma bro, and he's told me that in the last 2 to 4 years, there's been tremendous progress on some of the drugs used to treat Alzheimer's, but even with drugs, you're just slowing down the eventual progression of your mind being completely shot. True. The past 2 to 4 years, there was one approved by the FDA, and I think there's another in trials that's actually showing treatment for the disease. I don't know if the FDA approved one was any good. That was a highly controversial drug because it was not approved to actually treat Alzheimer's disease, which is really weird. I think some people even quit the FDA over it. And then, But the nice thing is that if there is any improvement whatsoever, on treating Alzheimer's disease, it would be good because then it would show that we have some understanding about like what's causing it. Because I think right now we're still in an area where we have no idea like what the is actually, what causes Alzheimer's disease, like why does it happen? Or like, yeah. Also, our idea now is that Alzheimer's occurs once a large amount of neurons in the brain die due to beta amyloid plaques. I don't know I think the beta amyloid plaque thing is still being researched, but the problem I think with that is that the first huge paper relating to that was apparently completely fraudulent. So I think people are kind of reevaluating whether the beta amyloid plaque theory is good. I think they still run with it, but I think there's like more people contending with that theory now. There are other theories. One contender I think was that type 3 diabetes theory, and then there was another one, but the fraudulent paper is about a specific amyloid oligomer, not about amyloid fibrils generally. Yeah, but I thought it was the big one. I thought cynical Brit that they were trying to target with medication or with treatment. I don't want to dive back into that again. I thought that it called that whole theory into question a little bit more because I thought one of the big frustrations about that paper was there are other theories about what causes Alzheimer's disease that have all basically been shunned because that paper was considered like so landmark in Alzheimer's disease research. It's a long time ago, but I remember when I studied on hematoencephalic barrier opening, we noticed some positive effects from certain drugs for Alzheimer's. Read on Dr. David Fortin if you're curious. It's from my memories, but I think we have some drugs that helps. I am 100% positive that prior to 1 to 2 years ago, there were no drugs that had any clinical support for helping delay the progression of Alzheimer's. I'm 100% positive of that. I did so much reading and research on this when my mom was diagnosed. If you want to link me something, you can. But I know there's a lot of people that swear by some weird I think lion's mane or mushrooms, or there's a couple of like medical conspiracy theories about how there's actually a really simple cure, like peanut butter. Fuck, there was one thing that there was a whole YouTube series on it, but that's all pseudoscience. None of it has ever been clinically verified ever. Sugar consumption causes so many brain-related diseases really early in research, but it's there. Sugar's so bad. Maybe, yeah. Wow, this testing sure actually knows a lot about everything. My mom has Alzheimer's. I've Googled it. If you don't believe me, then just show me something different. Jesus. What are your thoughts on the committee formation? I mean, broadly speaking, well, so what I'm looking at, so right now, this committee is heavily Dem favored, right? The 2 Republicans on this voted to impeach Donald Trump the second time, and the rest are Democrats. It's a pretty biased committee formation, which I think looks pretty bad. So then the question this is why I wanted to look at the background of this. The question is, why didn't Pelosi stick any like what would appear as like nonpartisan Republicans on this committee, right? That's what I'm wondering. So I see though that Pelosi said that she would take suggestions from McCarthy. McCarthy suggests 5 people, all of them obviously invested in other ways in this. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe Pelosi shut all these down, but Pelosi didn't. Pelosi said that she was only going to reject 2 of them and she would let the other 3 on the committee. And McCarthy said, no, it's either all 5 of my appointees or nothing. And then Pelosi said, okay, well, I guess it's nothing. And then Pelosi was free to pick. The two people that ended up on here also got heavily censured by the Republican Party. So like, it was basically like, if you want to break party ranks and join Pelosi's select committee for the January 6th stuff, you're probably like, that's the end of your career as a Republican. So I do agree that there is a political leaning to this committee. I don't see how you can't blame that on McCarthy. If you can think of another theory explanation, that's fine. But yeah. McCarthy could have had 5 Republicans on it, but he chose not to. So, I mean, what are you gonna, Destiny, would politicians be immediately removed from office if they're on Epstein's list, or would they have to prove they did stuff? Why is being on Epstein's list, why the f does that matter? Epstein was a billionaire. Wasn't like every other important wealthy person in the world on his flight logs at some point? Are you gonna start hold on. Logs show Trump flew more often on Epstein jets than was previously reported. Like, yeah, who the f cares about any of this? Like, what? I'm just gonna ask every conservative from now on, when they talk about Epstein's flight logs, does that mean Trump kids? Answer that yes or no. If your answer is no, then shut the f up. It's stupid. Do you agree that it was a domestic terrorist attack? Okay, just real quick as you're coming into this, okay? Just to be clear, the riot kind of mattered. Who died doesn't matter. Whether it was domestic terrorism doesn't matter. The Oathbreakers being there kind of matters for like what the particular event was. Yeah, the violence and the delay of the national, all that, whatever. That's all. Yeah, all these things like kind of matter. 90% of why this matters is because all of this was led up to and incited by Donald Trump. And when I say incited, I don't even necessarily mean the riot itself, although it was. I mean like everything that made the conditions for it possible. Okay, that's the big deal about J6. Okay, so don't fixate on the 1 or 6 deaths or the who broke the windows first or most of the people were crazy or blah, blah, blah. None of that is that important. It's the idea that like you had a president of the United States, I believe, I don't know if you count the Civil War, I think for the first time in U.S. history, trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. I don't think there's any other president that's ever done that before. Just 5 more seconds also, okay? I made Pence Glazer, okay? I think Pence is a good American. Holy f***, I disagree with a lot of shit he believes and says. Pence is a real American, okay? That is a patriotic officer of the court, okay? What a god. Okay. Destiny, I'm pretty sure that you've already thought the hypothetical, but if there was evidence that there was massive mishandling of mail-in ballots, or if it comes out in some future that there was in fact fuckery on the level that would have swung the election, does it change anything? So this is a feeling that I've had. I've said this in the past, that if you really did believe that the election was being stolen, then maybe going to the Capitol building was like justified if you really truly thought that. But the problem then is we have a breakdown in media and a breakdown in leadership, because Republicans didn't think that the election was stolen. Donald Trump didn't really think the election was stolen. And Fox News knew that the election wasn't stolen, right? So when you've got a breakdown at all these points, and then you look at the voters themselves, and it's like, okay, well, did anybody provide a compelling argument that the election was stolen? And they're like, well, I did see these videos on YouTube. I'm sorry, but like, as somebody that is in control, the destiny of this country, as a voter, you are, I think you have a slightly higher responsibility than I watched an Alex Jones video, a YouTube video of a ballot box appearing from underneath a table, and I read from a guy that trip fags on 4chan under the name QAnon, and that's why I think that like the United States' elections are like, I'm sorry, bro, you got a higher commitment to U.S. democracy than that. Or trip frogs, sorry. I don't know what you guys call these. Yeah, like, come on, bro, you can do better. Donald Trump was pretty duplicitous, but which politician isn't? I will... Okay. Can somebody tell me the name of this fallacy where would it just be called a false equivalence? Imagine I bring over a friend and we're hanging out and you're like, oh, I've never seen your friend before. Where have they been? And it's like, oh, you haven't seen him because he was in jail for 27 years. 27 years? Why? Oh, I think it was a rape and then triple homicide. He killed this lady's 2 children, and then he raped her, and then he pressed her eyeballs in until her head exploded, and he went to jail for that. But he served his time, 27 years. He's out. Okay, that's kind of scary. Why would you bring this guy, to my house? Like, it seems like he's maybe kind of a bad person. He's done some bad things. And then your response is, hasn't everybody done some bad things? I cannot tell you how retarded it is to say that. Donald Trump is not being accused. Donald Trump's issue is not that he's a duplicitous politician, and everybody's a duplicitous politician. Donald Trump's problem is that he intentionally, over a long period of time, and with collaboration from his media puppets and the Republican Party, tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power in the United States, among other things. That is uniquely bad. That's not just a thing that every politician does, okay? By a thick rope. Are the qualifiers to dictate if something's an insurrection and who's the governing body officials that makes the distinction? Also, thoughts on the Colorado ballot verdict? I hope it sticks. I don't have strong opinions on any of the Colorado ballot stuff. I don't have strong opinions on any of that stuff. That'll be something. I'll probably read the majority and the dissent on the Supreme Court when they finally rule on it. That'll be a really big or interesting ruling and potentially really big ruling. Destiny is the kind of guy who researches the real story and what happened at Tiananmen Square by looking at the official CCP report. My favorite thing about bots like you is like you'll say shit like, oh, you just read State Department propaganda. You don't do real research like I do. But your real research is like listening to podcasts of like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan. That's like the start and stop of your real research. Like, but okay, dude. What's actually kind of sad is that the Republican Party won't even consider other options. Like, I thought Nikki Haley was a pretty solid in the debates. There is no Republican Party right now. There is a party that is like basically metastasized by Trump cancer. The Republican Party as it exists today is still completely enslaved to Donald Trump. How is the Russian conspiracy theory a peaceful transfer of power? I think the Russian conspiracy theory was a peaceful transfer of power when the night of the elections, when it was clear that Hillary Clinton lost, Hillary Clinton said, I concede the election, and then Donald Trump resumed office, and nobody tried to block the certification of the votes, claimed that the elections were rigged, tried to do Supreme Court cases fighting against the certification of the ballots, or trying to control how states dictated their electoral process. Well, I mean, like, what do you mean? What part of that? Like, and then we can play, I can do all the sides of this argument you want. Because then your next response is, actually, Destiny, what about when Hillary Clinton said that Donald Trump was an illegitimate president, right? And then we can go to the book where she said it, or the interview where she said it, and we could talk about how when she says illegitimate president, she means that he gained it through illegitimate means in terms of courting with enemy nations or engaging in propaganda that she considered nefarious. Not that he actually rigged the actual vote totals. Like, we can go back and forth on this all you want, but like to try to make an equivalence between this and Trump is ridiculous. Okay, like, are you not going to talk to that guy in Discord? He didn't join. I'm looking at General Lobby and General Lobby 2. If he joins, he can do it. Every president in our history has defended this orderly transfer of authority except one. January 6, 2021 was the first time one American president refused his constitutional duty to transfer power peacefully to the next. In our work over the last 18 months, Select Committee has recognized our obligation to do everything we can to ensure this never happens again. At the outset of our investigation, we recognized that tens of millions of Americans had been persuaded by President Trump that the 2020 presidential election was stolen by overwhelming fraud. We also knew that this was flatly false and that dozens of state and federal judges had addressed and resolved all manner of allegations about the election. Our legal system functioned as it should, but our president would not accept the outcome. What most of the public did not know before our investigation is this. He says his name is Cartus Paladin. He needs to learn how to join a voice channel then. He probably joined like the Discord and he's not in a voice channel. We also knew that this was flatly false and that dozens of state and federal judges had addressed and resolved all manners of allegations about the election. Our legal system functions. Okay, I'm trying to know. What most of the public did not know before our investigation is this. Donald Trump's own campaign officials told him early on that his claims of fraud were false. Donald Trump's senior Justice Department officials, each appointed by Donald Trump himself, investigated the allegations and told him repeatedly that his fraud claims were false. Donald Trump's White House, also, by the way, even in an ordinary court of law, even in civil cases, if you're a lawyer and you were to bring frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit in front of a judge, at the worst, they could disbar you for that. If you're a pro se defendant or a litigator, pro se meaning yourself, like not a lawyer, I think you can get in trouble for that too. They can throw shit at you for it. Yeah, so even the idea like, well, shouldn't they be allowed to take whatever they want to court? I do believe you have the right to challenge things in court, but like Donald Trump didn't even have a good foundation to go to court over any of this. Nobody in his inner circle was hyping him on this, okay? He did not have a bunch of hype men around him, despite his like desperate attempt to choose them. Like, Donald Trump's White House lawyers also told him that his fraud claims were false. From the beginning, Donald Trump's fraud allegations were concocted nonsense designed to prey upon the patriotism of millions of men and women who love our country. Most Americans also did not know exactly how Donald Trump, along with a handful of others, planned to defeat the transfer of presidential power on January 6th. This was not a simple plan, but it was a corrupt one. This report lays that plan out in detail, a plan that ultimately had 7 parts, anticipating that Vice President Pence, serving in his role as president of the Senate, would refuse to count official Biden electoral states from multiple states, or slates from multiple states. We understood from the beginning that explaining all the planning and machinations would be complex and would require many hours of public presentations and testimony. We also understood that our presentations needed to be organized into a series of hearings that presented the key evidence for the American public to watch live or streamed over a reasonable time period, rather than rely on secondhand accounts as reported by media organizations with their own editorial biases. We organized our hearings in segments to meet that goal. Tens of millions of Americans watched. Among the most shameful findings from... Here's like a media strategy that, listen, Democrats, you're trying to fuck over Trump, okay? Hire me, okay? I can tell you, okay? I can tell you how to do these things, okay? One thing that's very true is, this is a belief that I have. I think that people build a tolerance to specific news, regardless of how much of that news they get, such that you can deliver the exact same amount of news or the same overall idea of news and have the reception be really big or non-existent. Here's an example. I was gonna use a really extreme example. I think let's say I sexually assault somebody. Okay. If I sexually assaulted somebody, let's say that I do that. Okay, let's say there are 2 different ways for this story to leak or to go out, right? Let's say that that person's friend does it's always a rape allegation, okay? Rape's it's just a good lens to view things through, okay? Listen, I'm a guy. Think about doing raping a lot of raping out here, okay? So let's say that allegation goes out publicly, but let's say that it's like a friend of the person that got assaulted, and they tweet and they put a Me Too story out, and let's say that it's kind of shitty. Let's say that story goes out. It's kind of shitty. A lot of people are looking at me now like, oh, that's kind of weird. Let's say that a month or 2 later, my team makes a statement that they're going to do an investigation. Let's say that another month or 2 later, 2 other friends come out and say, oh, we heard that girl's story. They might not even care about those 2 friends. Let's say that my team eventually finds no wrongdoing. Then let's say the original girl comes out with a Me Too statement and she provides pretty strong evidence that I sexually assaulted her. Let's say that's the timeline of things. If that's the case, I think the way that I've navigated public drama and seen everything, if the very first thing that comes out is almost always going to be the biggest story, the very first thing. So the very first thing is kind of weak. People will see it and it's and then as other stuff comes out, you're already inoculated a bit against that story and you kind of don't care. Even when the real allegation comes out at the end, you're kind of whatever. However, if I were to sexually assault somebody and then nothing comes out, and then at the very end, the original victim releases a Me Too statement with a lot of evidence, that's a huge story because there's no inoculatory effect. I don't know if inoculatory is real, but people have been used to it. They haven't built up the time. It's oh shit, big story, big evidence. And then that's the explosive thing. I think one of the issues relating to the Jan 6 stuff, I think maybe even I fell victim to this, is so much January 6 stuff was drip fed to us that I think we watched some of it on stream. By the time the J6 stuff was being presented by Congress, I'm bro, I heard about J6 shit for 2 years. I don't give a I really don't. Which is kind of sad because then now I've lost all of that inoculant effect. And then as I was rereading parts of this on stream and off stream, I'm holy shit, this is some unbelievable shit. What the but I think the drip feed is very damaging. So you have to be careful how you handle that. Yeah. Yeah. Crassus Dumat. Destiny is unfortunately in this, likes to strawman this convo. Do you want to jump into Discord and chat with me? How could you possibly argue against it? Well, I mean, obviously, it's because you're a conservative.
My take is pretty much that I'm worried that you might take a progressive view of what happened in January 6th. I think you have it right on some of the details. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Every conservative worth their salt was looking at January 6th and be like, what the is this shit? Hell no. Because we saw what happened for a while ago before that year-long riot that was millions of people across the nation burning neighborhoods, attacking federal buildings, attacking staff, getting people killed, and basically creating exclusionary zones like CHOP and shit like that. And we saw, hey, this is like what an insurrection or rebellion would look at. What feels to be unfair about January 6th for conservatives is going to be why don't you have at least a standard across the board these January 6 committees, why don't you just create one where every single person that rioted and did this crazy stuff with that interrupted with the due process of our country, excuse me if I'm saying it incorrectly, get their dues. It doesn't seem that way when you talk about the rioters, and people want to always make a distinction. And yeah, there can be things that have distinct properties that make them different, but there's a lot more the same that is different in my opinion.
Okay. Before we do that, okay, because this is a whataboutism that I'm really familiar with, my initial argument is that January 6th was uniquely horrible because Donald Trump, through the propagation of lies that he knew were lies, led people to believe that our electoral system was either rigged or that the election was being stolen from them. And he tried to use a bunch of extra legal means and then eventually a mob to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Do you believe everything that I just said there and you agree with that, but you're just upset about the BLM stuff? Because if so, we can move to the BLM stuff. Or is there something that I said there that you disagree with?
No, we can actually go with the Donald Trump stuff. I think we need to focus on that. I don't think Donald Trump is capable of the intellectual process to think that he did not win that election. I think he truly believes it. He's the kind of guy that, even since his show, he believes his own stuff. He believes he's that hot. He believes that he won the election. There could be other things that we could say, hey, the election, what did seem that there was a lot of manipulation in the background, like how the media kind of.
Well, first one for Trump, do we have any evidence of him being like delusional or have any evidence of him like being like crazy, like psychotic? Because it seems like everybody around him was telling him that the election was done fairly. What would lead him to think the election was rigged?
Because throughout his entire election, he didn't listen to, not even like to Mad Dog himself. He didn't listen to many of his staffers. He would say totally different things. His staffs were constantly running to try to change the message to fit to what his new narrative would be, his last speech would be, even if they had a previous plan prior to. His whole election is that.
Wasn't Donald Trump taking advice from some people around him? Like, I could be wrong, but wasn't it like Bannon, for instance, that pushed him to support Roy Moore in Alabama? I don't understand this idea of like Trump ignores everybody around him. Wasn't Trump's entire reason for using Pence as the linchpin to delay the election because of, was it Eastman, the lawyer or whatever, that said that maybe this is the way the vice... So he did listen to people around him when it suited his needs.
Exactly. I agree that when it actually kind of coincided with what he actually wanted, yeah, he's going to be like, oh, definitely, I like that advice you have there, Bannon. But at the end of the day, all those people that supposedly he relied on, he started kicking them out of his office, calling them all these names. What used to be my best buddy one day became the enemy the next day. But Donald Trump is a force of nature, and we all know this. He's f***ing crazy. He does whatever he feels is the right decision, and the advices he'll take are the ones he feels are the right decisions.
Okay,
already.
That's a fun narrative, and if you want to believe that, I think that's interesting. But like, I would need at least like one piece of evidence that shows that Donald Trump is actually like on a like pathological level delusional, such that he believes in non-reality. I've just never seen that presented. I think Trump's kind of dumb, but I don't think he's like that delusional.
May need a little bit of change. I don't think he doesn't believe in his non-reality. I think that the man just believes in himself.
Yeah, but no, we're not talking about believing in himself. You're saying that he thinks that the election, with no evidence, no support, and with nobody around him affirming him, was stolen. But he has no evidence for that. So that's a delusion, right? That's by definition, that's a delusion.
Our idea of like, we would actually go to the process, be like, all right, let's see if there's any evidence of this case. But he believes that he's being played by the media, that they're hiding these stories, that they're not. The fact that, even the Hunter Biden story, that's not even as big of a deal yet, because we haven't even found the fire of where their smoke is, was enough for him to feel like, hey, what the f is going on? People are basically kind of like censoring me and not releasing stories that can be beneficial towards me, and then they're constantly putting this Russiagate narrative that has failed for 4 years, and they keep pushing this stuff. This is going to create this kind of mindset that he has there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The mindset is a delusion. A delusion is a fixed belief that cannot be changed regardless of how much external evidence pushes you in a different direction. So you're telling me that because Donald Trump believed the whole world was out to get him, that you're talking about like a paranoid schizophrenic at this point, or somebody who believes in gang stalking, that like he'll just invent narratives that... No, I don't buy that.
No. I have to ask you, if you were in the same situation where you were basically being targeted in the same fashion, regardless of how intellectually, if you have high levels of intellectual integrity, you would have these levels of this, like you could feel like somebody would be after you, constantly after you. If you don't have the same standard applied to the other side across the board, you're gonna feel this way. You're gonna act this way because you always feel like someone's out to get you.
Yeah, like Hillary Clinton and the Benghazi hearings, or Hillary Clinton and the email stuff, or Hillary Clinton and we've reopened the investigation, announced it publicly. Like, what do you mean? Donald Trump won largely on a lot of the insane attacks that have gone over Hillary Clinton for years. I mean, like, that's such a weird point to bring up.
No offense, but actually the Hillary stuff actually had evidence and follow up. We did the due process for that. But nevertheless, we never went as hard.
Hold on, wait, hold on. I'm so sorry.
Wait.
No, you just said something that's so not true. We did not do the due process for the Hillary Clinton stuff. The FBI,
we did not do the due process for Benghazi?
the FBI publicly announcing that they're reopening an investigation when the FBI normally never comments on investigations was not due process. That was exceptional.
I'm sorry, but the FBI is doubtful for any type of integrity whatsoever. You have been.
Hold on. Wait. You just pivoted completely. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait. I have to make this clear when people do this because I'm letting too many people do this to me. Okay. I just said it was not due process. That what the FBI did was exceptional, and then you just answered to a ghost in the room that the FBI is compromised. Whatever the you were just saying. Can you acknowledge that what the FBI did was not due process? Can you acknowledge that was not due process?
No, it is due process. They basically said that they came out and said that they made their own declaration on what
you're telling me it's expected and ordinary that the FBI publicly comments on opening an investigation or an ongoing investigation at all?
I didn't say even if it's ordinary. I don't even know that. You don't even know that.
I do know that because they said that.
Wait, hold on. No. Whoa. We don't know that because we don't know how many cases are public by the FBI and how much they're not. We're just saying based on all I said was.
Sir, hold on. I'm sorry, but like there was an ongoing FBI investigation of Donald Trump at the same time that there was an ongoing investigation announced about Hillary Clinton. We didn't get any announcements about Trump, did we, prior to the election? What do you like? We can do a 1-to-1 comparison right here.
Oh, all right, let's do it. How much due service did the FBI give to Trump versus Hillary?
I'm just saying that.
No, please just answer that question. Then we could continue. I promise.
How much?
In good faith. How much due service? I mean, at least fairness. Did the FBI provide in both cases? Which one do you think was handled better?
That's a hard one. I would probably lean towards the Donald Trump one, although that one had problems, of course.
Okay. I think that's fair.
The announcement for the Hillary Clinton thing could have cost her the election. Without that FBI announcement, she might have won the entire presidential election. So
no, I agree.
Yeah, the FBI obviously was acting not as impartially as they're supposed to be, which I think the Durham report essentially says at the end. But I don't know why we would say here's evidence of everything being against Trump when damn, the FBI fucked that election shit up really hard with Comey's announcement. That was insane.
I think my belief is that I think they got enough pushback inside from enough people inside that the next time they did this, they decided to step back and not actually release any of their ongoing investigations publicly. And that's just one. I mean, there's too much stuff that the media has been doing, and basically kind of not only reporting negatively towards Trump, but keeping the Russia story alive when we knew that it was faulty information from the beginning.
What do you mean we knew that it was faulty information from the beginning?
Remember that Donald Trump came out and basically said that this was not disinformation, was BS. And
Donald Trump, the guy being investigated, said that the investigation was BS, so we should have dropped everything?
No, not dropped everything, but we should have investigated who watches the watchers kind of thing. We need to know.
What do you mean? Watchdog groups and government accounting offices or whatever, or accountability offices.
They failed completely. We only now are we coming to a point where we're starting to look at the FBI much more critically than we did before because they didn't decide to release this information that was supposed to be a nothing burger. Why would you do that?
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Do you want to have a conversation about criticisms of the FBI, which, by the way, especially since the Patriot Act and prior to this with the CIA and the Cold War and everything, none of our intelligence agencies are beyond reproach. And if we want to criticize those intelligence agencies, that's totally fine. And if we think some of them didn't show proper impartiality towards Trump investigations, that's not only is that fine, that seems to be the case. It's true after further investigations. That's fine. None of this has anything to do with satisfying the argument that Donald Trump had a right to be delusional and think that every single fact in the United States was malleable because he felt like he was getting unfair treatment from every entity that he made an enemy of.
He didn't have to make an enemy of any of
But he did. He did, though, didn't he?
No. But no. They were enemies from the beginning. They were set out to destroy this man from the beginning. I don't care about him. I wish he wasn't in the
Why do you
run-up.
think they were set out to destroy him from the beginning, though?
Because they saw him as a reflection of their own beliefs in the other position, in the other way. These are part of a weird growing populist movement.
I can't. It's delusion. It's delusion. It's
no.
I'm sorry.
It's not just delusion. This is just extreme that are happening.
No, it's like somebody will walk into a room and call like 20 black people the N-word, and then like you Trumples will look at it and be like, well, I think that the black people probably lost the game of FIFA video games for like 20 years ago.
Don't run that. No, that's up. I would never. No, hell no. That those people that do that. Those people
hold on. I'm not saying.
I'm just saying.
It's an analogy. It's an analogy. What I'm saying is that Donald Trump made an enemy of the entire system from the very beginning. He constantly did it.
That's not what he did.
What?
That's not what he did. He didn't just come into a room and just said like N-word and then just walk away and that kind of stuff. That's not what he did. What are you doing? That's not a good analogy.
Okay. Donald Trump, before he was an elected president, was talking about how broken and horrible and swampy and deep statey, how every part of our system was fucked and horrible, right? And then he comes in and he continues to act the same way. He can't build any alliances in DC. He has nobody that likes him. He's constantly firing and reshuffling his staff over and over and over again. So when you say, I can't believe that like they didn't like him. Yeah, no shit. He made an enemy of literally every motherfucker in Washington.
That's not the point I'm trying to make. It's not that I can't believe. Again, you're changing my words, man. It's from the very onset, they were going to hate this guy because he was saying things that nobody else would say.
Yeah, like grab him by the pussy and McCain was a fucking loser for getting tortured in Vietnam. Yeah, he was saying things that nobody else was saying. Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Yeah, grab him by the pussy was a reporting before he was president. Why would you bring that up? That's weird, man.
Why would I bring up something the guy said before he was president?
Yeah, like it's like if we search everybody's history, we can grab everything from anyone and then basically say, hey, this is who this person is, regardless of who they are.
Yeah, people do this. It's called op-ed research. Everybody does this in elections. Yes.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
How many times did Trump scream super predator from Hillary Clinton? I bet you've used this quote if I check your Twitter. When did Hillary Clinton say super predator? Like in 1993?
No, she just said deplorables, and usually I don't really. She doesn't have to sound good.
No, hold on. The super predator comment was brought up a lot in the election cycle when it was Hillary versus Trump.
I don't care about that. That's stupid.
That's fine that you don't care about it, but I'm saying it wasn't unique to Trump. It's like people doing op-ed research.
I didn't say it was
or not op-ed, opposition research, oppo research. Sorry.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying I don't care what Trump said or Hillary said because that's how they constantly will combat. But I'm not. What my interest is just like not understanding that the whole scene for Trump is literally built for him to be this kind of delusional perspective because everybody's continuously coming after him and then building upon that and just trying to be like, oh, you lost the election, you lost this, and he's like, fuck that, I didn't lose the election. The polls were saying this and the polls were saying that. They're all lying to me. Look at the Rushgate. It ended in lie. This guy would lose his mind. Anyone in his place would lose his mind.
Okay, then he's a psycho delusional guy. That could be your narrative, I guess. You have no evidence of this. But like, if you want to believe that, that's fine. But like, I just can't believe like funny stories.
You have the entire Trump elections as evidence.
I have evidence of him like lying about a ton of things. Yeah, but this evidence that like he's like been created into a psychotic, delusional, crazy person because of like everybody not liking him. I don't have any evidence of that. It's a fun story, but like
just not liking them. They coming after him. There's a difference when not liking someone and basically attacking the things you own, the things that basically have your name on it, that your own credit, your own person, your family, and your livelihood. This is a whole different thing. It's not just I just hate the president.
Besides conjecture and circumstantial evidence, do you have any proof of anybody else saying that Trump is delusional instead of all the other people around him saying he was lying? Is there any statements, any doctor reports, any personal statements by Trump, anything like that? Or is this all just...
If you want, I could compile this, and we could just all the people who have constantly been saying he's delusional, he's crazy, he's not fit for office, he's a traitor, he's a especially with the Russiagate. We could go through all that. I could bring it all to you, and then you could just check it there and be like, oh, I must have had fish memory. Not to say you do, but that's sometimes people forget the obvious.
I'm not talking about opposition people calling him crazy or delusional or whatever. People say this about politicians all the time.
Not like they did with Trump, man.
Wait,
no one.
Are you okay? I'm just curious. Are you planning on voting for Trump in the next election?
No, I'm gonna vote for Biden so that the housing crisis happens and I can buy a house for my beautiful wife.
Okay. All right. Well, Were there any factual disagreements you had with me, or was it just this narrative about Trump?
No, it's not a factual disagreement. I don't think you have any facts. I think you're reading what a narrative by one group and just basically running with it.
What do you mean I'm reading a narrative? Hold on, I'm sorry. What have I read that is just a narrative that isn't supported by any fact?
The committee itself. It's not even a committee. That's why I was telling you the committee is not something that.
Can you tell me a claim made by the committee that is not supported in fact?
They're saying that the January 6th is an insurrection.
That's not. I don't even know if that was the point of the committee. The point of the committee is to go over the actions of everybody involved.
Not only that, the point of the committee was trying to say that it was an insurrection so that they can then proceed with other kind of laws to
I think the specific, if you want to deal with that 7-point thing that they were saying, that Donald Trump had did this or that, is there like a fact that they assert about that you disagree? You might disagree with the overall thing that it's an insurrection, but you disagree with any of the underlying facts that they use to reach that conclusion?
Can I ask you a question? Do you agree or disagree it's an insurrection?
I think it was an attempted insurrection, yeah, of course.
An attempted insurrection. Could you define why? Well, not only define insurrection, but why do you believe that?
Because there was a group of people at the White House that had a plan to prevent the transfer of power, because Donald Trump knew that he was getting people rallied up to go and fight at the White House, or I'm sorry, at the Capitol building, and he knew they had weapons, and he sent them down there, basically knowing what everyone was going to do. Yeah, I would say that there's an insurrection. The whole goal of Donald Trump personally, and the goal of the Oath Breakers, I believe, I haven't read through all the FBI indictments yet, I hope I get to do that before Alex Jones, the goal of everybody there was to prevent the certification of the vote.
I disagree with that.
What fact did I just say there? What part of that do you disagree with? What part do you think is not true?
I'm not talking about the Oath Breakers. I don't know what the hell they're going to. The fact is that Donald Trump was planning had or set upon an insurrection. That's false. That's completely false.
Did Donald Trump tell Mike Pence not to certify the vote?
No, Donald Trump, yes, but he said in order to see if there was any kind of foul play at hand.
Okay. Did he have any reason to suspect that there was any foul play at hand?
We're going in circles. We're already talking.
Well, no, wait. That's because you keep bringing up Obama and Comey and Hillary.
No, I didn't. Okay. I didn't bring Obama and Hillary.
Very. There's a super clear line of inquiry. Okay. Did Donald Trump have any good reason to believe that there was something wrong with any of the electoral votes?
Yes. What was he for 4 years? He's we can continue doing this.
So the answer is no. He has nothing. It's for 4 years.
Oh,
people bullied him, and that's his evidence.
Oh wow, man, Destiny, come on, you could do better than that.
No, I'm asking you for a very clear. Listen, I don't have a lot of time, and I don't want to do the ramble thing. So it's a super easy, super clear question. You are rambling.
For 4 years. No, it's not 4 years. We had Russiagate. Russiagate alone is enough to be for someone to have a doubt.
To think the election was rigged?
Yeah, absolutely. There could be.
Right.
Okay. You're not interested in the conservative perspective. You're just interested in running whatever perspective you have.
I'm interested in facts over feelings. I want to know, what are the facts of the matter and what happened? And you're interested in, Donald Trump felt bullied, so he thought the election was fake. This is retarded.
I don't care about the Ben Shapiro line. Him too. The point is that
it's not a Ben Shapiro line. I'm just saying that I want the facts of the matter. What happened and what was everybody's perspective at the time? Not this whole story. When he was bullied for 4 years. This is retarded.
If you want to do a snippet, that's fine. But the point is that you have 4 years of Russiagate would have somebody just alone would have somebody doubtful of trusting any kind of institution that you're in right now. And if you can't put that together, that's on you. We can disagree on that. But clearly, anyone with a mind or thinking process would be like, after 4 years of them trying to get me like this, with no kind of real due process being put, no evidence, and finding out this thing was fake, yes, I'm not going to believe anything. That's what his mindset's going to be. I think it's stupid, yeah. It's delusional, yeah. I don't want him to be in office, but not you, but these people created this monster, and I wish they stopped putting him in fucking media shows and stuff like that. But you're creating this monster.
Did they also create him stealing private or classified material and not returning it?
Yeah, just like every president that does this. But probably Obama has some stolen documents.
Can you name a single president that's ever? Can you name a single president that has rejected the National Archives or the FBI's request to return classified material? Just one?
No.
So no other person has done this. Not a single. You can't name it because it has never happened. It doesn't happen.
Usually they don't have to, because they could just be like, yeah, we just gave it in, and at the same time as we're doing investigation to Biden, we find out that he has more documents.
Okay. Wait a second. Was Donald Trump not given about a year to return the documents with no questions asked?
Fuck him for that. He's a retard for that.
Okay. Again, why do you say he's a retard? No. Why do you say he's a retard now? But before you didn't just admit that you're trying to make it sound like he did the same thing everyone else did.
No. It's just every president does this stuff. The difference is that Trump is stupid. Let me finish. Trump is stupid enough to literally say to the very.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's like an average conservative. I can't. I'm sorry. I need to be like. I need to be on some other type of drug to deal with. Oh yeah, Deuce QP. This is probably one of the most common bad faith. Bro, Melina's done it to me personally. Other friends have done it to me. Political debater people have done it to me. I watch people on TV do this to me. This is one of the most common, I wouldn't call this gaslighting, but like one of the most common weird debate tactics that I'll ever see, okay? You'll say, here's the thing, okay? You'll say, hey, John did X. And the person will say, what? John didn't do X. And then you'll go, yeah, he did. Here's the proof that John did X. And they'll go, no, John did X because blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you're arguing over the sub-reasons and you're forgetting, wait a second. Wait, so you agree with me that John did do X? Wait, what the f are we even arguing about now? And that last caller did that. January 6th was an insurrection. No, it wasn't an insurrection. What do you mean? Of course it was. Donald Trump did this, this, and this. Donald Trump only did that because of all the media attacking him and all the people going after him. Wait, and then now we're arguing about, wait, hold on. So then you agree it was an insurrection, but Donald Trump did it because the media like bullied him into doing it. So it was an insurrection. Yeah, that like turnaround, I don't know if maybe I do this to people and I'm not even aware of it. I need to check for that. But like that turnaround of stuff is so fucking annoying where somebody will make a claim and then you make the counterclaim and then they pretend somehow that they're not agreeing with the counterclaim, but then they're justifying the counterclaim. And oh my God, it was so fucking annoying when people do this. An insurrection is an attempted coup. So saying it's an attempted insurrection is redundant. Oh, is that true? I thought a coup and an insurrection were pretty interchangeable. Does an insurrection mean it's only an attempt? Destiny, I think your strategy with going point by point destroys people like the previous chatter. Yeah, but I think when you do it, people view you as being very aggressive and bad faith. Like Alex Jones will never let anybody do that. But like, there's a reason why in court, when you do cross-examination, it's like question, answer, please answer the question, question, answer. Yeah. Like if we could do like, bro, if we could do like court for a debate where it's like, I call this person to the stand, go up here, we're doing a cross-exam, these are my questions, answer the question or shut the up. And if you talk more, the judge is going to tell you to shut the up, okay? That would be a dream. Like question, answer, question. And then we can just go down the whole line. And then after that, then you can have your turn, okay? Jesus Christ, I would come in my pants so hard. It would spray through my cotton and kill whoever's in front of me. I don't think it's a debate tactic or manipulation. I think it's just people getting caught up in the argument because they either feel like there was a good reason for that person to do what you accuse them of doing. No, I mean, I can tell you what it is, okay? I know what it is. This is how it works, okay? And I know exactly what's going on in your mind, and you won't acknowledge this, but it's because I understand your mind better than you do, and that's fine, okay? I understand that's threatening. Here's how it works, okay? What you normally do, let's say that I want to build, I want to have a box, okay, 10 feet off the ground, okay? Here's what you do, okay? You would build like a base, okay? You would like erect like some pillar. You would make sure that it has like the proper supports, and then you would and then you'd have like the holding thing or whatever, but I'm just like making up terms. And then boom, now you have it elevated, okay? If you want to fight on this structure, the way that you fight, assuming this is how you've assembled the structure, the way that you would fight is you would say, okay, well, first I started with the base, okay? This is my fundamental argument, okay? Donald Trump lied about the election. Here are like my supports, okay? Everybody around him told him that he was lying. Everybody helped him pass this lie. Here's like this, the Dominion lawsuit, Fox News people were saying they knew it was a lie. Here's this, Donald Trump was making phone calls, stating information he knew was false, asking for help, and then boom, that's how I build my thing, okay? That's, if you've built an argument logically, you can go syllogistically almost. It's not really syllogistic, but like step by step by step by step by step. Super easy. But the problem is for people that believe in the big lie, that's not how they've built it. Instead, what they have is this gravity-defying mishmash of these like interconnected beliefs that are all connected at chain and through like some sort of like magnetic force, okay, are in air supporting their claim. That's why if I ask a simple fucking question, like, can you give me one piece of evidence that Donald Trump believes, why does he really believe the election is fake? Can you give me one piece of evidence that? The answer is never like, oh, well, I know that he thinks it's fake because Barr was actually telling him with a high degree of confidence, but this didn't happen. Like, Barr didn't say this. Barr said the opposite. Barr even made a statement that the FBI investigated, for instance, Dominion voting machines and said there was no evidence whatsoever that these were possessed by the ghost of Hugo Chavez. None whatsoever, okay? The reason why they can't answer on a particular point is because they haven't built their arguments rationally. They have a chain link connected, gravity defying, magnetic, bullshit levitating piece of trash argument that is reliant on every part of the narrative being true. That's why when I ask, why do you think Donald Trump is like acting in good faith? Well, the reason why is because 4 years ago when Russiagate started and then Fauci was already investing in pharmaceutical companies to make the fake vaccine to control the will of the United States public, and then and then Hillary Clinton and the emails worked together because you saw when they deprived Bernie Sanders like everything is like self-reinforcing and connecting, and none of it is actually built on any fucking logic whatsoever. That's why I get frustrated when I argue with some of these people. It's like, okay, if you constructed an argument to have a reasonable conclusion, let's just go through the premises. But they can't go through the premises because they never even thought about a premise. Instead, it's just this huge bullshit collection, this thought cloud of ambiguous, nebulous bullshit where none of it is actually justified. And all of it is just headlines and clips and podcasts they've heard from all the retarded alternative media people. I say alternative media people, but mainstream media people like Tucker Carlson or other Republican lawmakers you listen to. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. But anyway, if you're ever curious when I'm arguing with somebody why they won't just go point by point, why won't they just like sit there and break down point by point? It's because they've never gone point by point. All of their arguments are supported by all of the other random things they've heard. That's why. Okay.
My brother, just real quick.
Go.
I won't be here. So you shouldn't hesitate on insurrection at all. Just so you're aware. If you're ever worried or like thinking about whether January 6th is an insurrection or not, your immediate answer should be unambiguously yes. And I encourage you to, one, take a look at the most non-controversial example of an insurrection in history, that is the Whiskey Rebellion. And in that situation, it wasn't an attempt by people to overturn or an attempted coup or anything like that. It was just a public use of force against tax collectors, and specifically people who were trying to enforce America's first tax on like alcohol. And so when people try to imply that what you need for an insurrection is a showing that they were trying to take over, that they were going to be successful in taking over, that's not the case. The Whiskey Rebellion, which was also called the Whiskey Insurrection, everyone understood that to be an insurrection at the time. The stakes were much lower. Very few people died at all. And so the threshold here is not as high as some of the people might make you want to think. So I encourage you to like take a look at the Whiskey Rebellion, because any definition of insurrection, at least when we're applying these terms, would include that.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Love you. Be careful.
Love you.
Also, as a heads up, listen, okay? I do value people that disagree with me. There are plenty of people in my chats that disagree with me, okay? If you want to disagree, that's fine. Let me read out comments that get you permabanned. Destiny is playing dumb, permabanned. Destiny is compromised, permabanned, okay? If you think I'm wrong or ignoring some piece of evidence or some fact, type it out and say it. It's like, oh, Destiny's not considering this particular thing. Oh, but if you're just saying things like Destiny's bad faith or whatever, bro, I've read more of this shit than probably any other like fucking dick suck up fucking alt media loser that you've ever engaged with in your entire life. And I show you all of my fucking research on stream. Like I'm literally showing you me going through the documents, okay? None of the people that you listen to have read any of this material. 100%, guaranteed, okay? None of them have. So if you think I'm just like playing stupid or hiding from the facts, then illustrate it, point it out. But like, unless you're talking about like a more esoteric podcast and not one of the big stream ones, whatever, like most of these guys don't even read any of this fucking shit. So yeah, if you have a problem, then say it more specifically, okay? Sorry, hold on. Gisticle said in chat that Loretta Lynch forced Comey to make a public announcement about everything. Oh, there's a whole last thing. Gisticle, what part of this is they also seem to bring this back to Russiagate as a conspiracy. Yeah, I'll sharpen my. I should have started this earlier. I gotta sharpen my rhetoric on dealing with like people like this, because it's just such like I have to like go into a whole world of like irrationality and figure out like how do you navigate these conversations. It's like Jessica, what part of this is like relevant for me to read? Here's the part that he's referring to. You've heard multiple times classified information that former Attorney General Lynch, about former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, that leaves the impression that she was compromised by her personal loyalty to Hillary Clinton. You say she wasn't compromised. You can't explain why not. The friends of both of you are saying that you've been very unfair to her. Can you resolve this once and for all? I can't. And look, I get that. I like Loretta very much and respect her, and I saw no evidence at all that she was compromised or feeding information to the Clinton campaign or something like that. My worry was, and I had to write about it, because it was a key factor in my decision to step away from her in July and announce separately. My worry is that information was about to become public that would allow people to reasonably question whether that was true, whether she really was acting appropriately. But wasn't that, excuse me, was that information being false? No. Now, this tricky thing, the information was legitimate. Now, whether what it said was true about Loretta was a very different question. It's hard to understand the information was legitimate. Yes, I know I'm stuck because I've gone as far as I can go in the book in describing classified material. People. So those are good one, Jessica. This is whatever you thought this was is not what you were looking for, but okay. Okay. This guy can't explain anything. I think he's talking about the Steele dossier being completely made up by a research group working for the Hillary Clinton circled in the intelligence communities and leaked to BuzzFeed. I don't think that was completely made up. I think it was just research that the one British guy was doing, the Christopher Steele guy. I don't think it was made up. It just wasn't like vetted very well, or like there wasn't a high degree of accuracy or verification in that particular thing. So it probably should have never been made public. That caller did make good points. He was just not very good at articulating. He was in the middle of making a great point when Destiny hung up. Bro, bro, conservatives live in a whole other world. I have to meditate for 6 hours and prepare my mind to like go into the world that is like conservatism when it comes to making like cope for Donald Trump. It's like a whole process, and I haven't done that today. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Here's a video with Comey explaining why he felt he had to individually announce the Clinton results. I can't believe I'm doing this logistical right now. Fuck me.
Let me go back, if I can, very briefly, to the decision to publicly go out with your results on the email. Was your decision influenced by the Attorney General's tarmac meeting with the former President Bill Clinton?
Yes, in a ultimately conclusive way. That was the thing that kept it for me, that I had to do something separately to protect the credibility of the investigation, which meant both the FBI and the Justice Department.
Were there other things that contributed to that you can describe in an open session?
There were other things that contributed to that. One significant item I can't. I know the committee's been briefed on. There's been some public accounts of it, which are nonsense, but I understand the committee's been briefed on the classified facts. Probably the only other consideration that I guess I can talk about in an open setting is that at one point the Attorney General had directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter, which confused me and concerned me. But that was one of the bricks in the load that led me to conclude I have to step away from the department if we're to close this case credibly.
Director, my last question.
I'm just saying Comey has reasonable logic for why he felt compelled to announce the results of the Clinton investigation, and that the announcement burdened him with a duty to there. Hold on. I'm gonna do way better at this, guys. I swear to God, I'm gonna do better at this. Can I go further back in the logs? I thought Gisticle said Loretta Lynch forced Comey to make the public announcement. Because now you've walked this back all the way to my position, and you're pretending like you're arguing against me. My position was that it was probably inappropriate for Comey to announce it. He did feel like he had to because of the weird shenaniganery going on between him and the DOJ, and he felt like he needed to make an announcement. But you said that I thought you said he was forced to. Is that what I remember reading, or am I crazy? You said, Destiny, Loretta Lynch forcing the FBI to announce the end of the investigation publicly. The exception here was created by Loretta Lynch because she wanted them to announce Hillary was innocent, LOL, because the exception was created by the Attorney General. Comey felt compelled to create a counter exception to maintain. Hold on. So you have a source of Loretta Lynch saying that she wanted the FBI to say that Hillary Clinton was innocent? Yes, I already said I was wrong in that chat. Okay, fuck you. You're retarded as fuck. Okay, I don't care. Fuck, okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. I can't. Oh my God, conservatives. Okay. Okay.
fraud that took place in every state. And all of these legislatures want this back. I don't want to do it to you because I love you and it's freezing out here. But I could just go on forever. I can tell you this.
Is there a way to speed this up on this side or no?
So when you hear, while there is no evidence to prove any wrongdoing, this is the most fraudulent thing anybody said. This is a criminal enterprise. This is a criminal enterprise. And the press will say, and I'm sure they won't put any of
I will listen to this full thing for sure. I should have listened to this before. No, actually I don't need to. It just made me hate him more. Speech YouTube. Is there not a YouTube video of this? Is this it?
we were going to do well and we were going to...
I don't want to watch on the fucking Wall Street Journal website. Wait, hold on.
The 25th President of the
thank God.
United States of America. President
Very different rules. So I hope Mike has the courage to do what he has to do. And I hope he doesn't listen to the rhinos and the stupid people that he's listening to. It is also widely understood that the voter rolls are crammed full of non-citizens, felons, and people who have moved out of state, and individuals who are otherwise ineligible to vote. Yet Democrats oppose every effort to clean up their voter rolls. They don't want to clean them up. They're loaded. And how many people here know other people that when the hundreds of thousands and then millions...
Why do I feel like I watched something? I feel like I watched something in the past that was not this speech, and I thought it was.
Of ballots got sent out, got 3, 4, 5, 6, and I heard one who got 7 ballots. And then they say, you didn't quite make it, sir. We won in a landslide. This was a landslide. They said it's not American to challenge the election. This is the most corrupt election in the history, maybe of the world. You know, you can go third world countries, but I don't... Hundreds of thousands of votes, and they don't have voters for them. I mean, no matter where you go, nobody would think this. In fact, it's so egregious, it's so bad that a lot of people don't even believe it. It's so crazy that people don't even believe it. It can't be true. So they don't believe it. This is not just a matter of domestic politics. This is a matter of national security. So today, in addition to challenging the certification of the election, I'm calling on Congress and the state legislatures to quickly pass sweeping election reforms, and you better do it before we have no country left. Today is not the end, it's just the beginning. With your help over the last 4 years, we built the greatest political movement in the history of our country, and nobody even challenges that. I say that over and over, and I never get challenged by the fake news, and they challenge almost everything we say. But our fight against the big donors, big media, big tech, and others is just getting started. This is the greatest in history. There's never been a movement like that. You look back there all the way to the Washington Monument. It's hard to believe. We must stop the steal, and then we must ensure outrageous election fraud never happens again, can never be allowed to happen again. But we're going forward. We'll take care of going forward. We got to take care of going back. Don't let them talk. Okay, well, we promised. I've had a lot of people. Sir, you're at 96% for 4 years. I said, I'm not interested right now. I'm interested in right there. With your help, we will finally pass powerful requirements for voter ID. You need an ID to cash a check. You need an ID to go to a bank, to buy alcohol, to drive a car. Every person should need to show an ID in order to cast your most important thing, a vote. We will also require proof of American citizenship in order to vote in American elections. We just had a good victory in court on that one, actually. We will ban ballot harvesting and prohibit the use of unsecured drop boxes to commit rampant fraud. These drop boxes are fraudulent. Therefore, they disappear, and then all of a sudden they show up. It's fraudulent. We will stop the practice of universal unsolicited mail-in balloting. We will clean up the rules that ensure that every single person who casts a vote is a citizen of our country, a resident of the state in which they vote, and their vote is cast in a lawful and honest manner. We will restore the vital civic tradition of in-person voting on Election Day so that voters can be fully informed when they make their choice. We will finally hold big tech accountable, and if these people had courage and guts, they would get rid of Section 230, something that no other company, no other person in America, in the world has. All of these tech monopolies are going to abuse their power and interfere in our elections, and it has to be stopped. And the Republicans have to get a lot tougher, and so should the Democrats. They should be regulated, investigated, and brought to justice under the fullest extent of the law. They're totally breaking the law. Together, we will drain the Washington swamp, and we will clean up the corruption in our nation's capital. We have done a on it, but you think it's easy? It's a dirty business. It's a dirty business. You have a lot of bad people out there. Despite everything we've been through, looking out all over this country and seeing fantastic crowds, although this, I think, is our all-time record. I think you have 250,000 people. 250,000! Looking out at all the amazing patriots here today, I've never been more...
Wait, how many people were at this rally? Wasn't it like 20 or 30,000 at the Capitol? Hold on. How many protesters at Capitol? Or I guess maybe all of them didn't go. He does that all. I'm just curious how much he's lying. It's just so funny to me. Whatever. Okay.
Confident in our nation's future? Well, I have to say we have to be a little bit careful. That's a nice statement, but we have to be a little careful with that statement. If we allow this group of people to illegally take over our country, because it's illegal when the votes are illegal, when the way they got there is illegal, when the states that vote are given false and fraudulent information, we are the greatest country on earth, and we are headed, and we're headed in the right direction. You know, the wall is built. We're doing record numbers at the wall. Now they want to take down the wall. Let's let everyone flow in. Let's let everybody flow in.
We're on 120K.
We did a great job in the wall. Remember the wall? They said it could never be done. One of the largest infrastructure projects we've ever had in this country. And it's had a tremendous impact. And we got rid of catch and release. We got rid of all of the stuff that we had to live with. But now the caravans, they think Biden's getting in. The caravans are forming again. They want to come in again and rip off our country. Can't let it happen. As this enormous crowd shows, we have truth and justice on our side. We have a deep and enduring love for America in our hearts. We love our country. We have overwhelming pride in this great country, and we have it deep in our souls. Together we are determined to defend and preserve government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Our brightest days are before us. Our greatest achievements still wait. I think one of our great achievements will be election security, because nobody until I came along had any idea how corrupt our elections were. And again, most people would stand there at 9 o'clock in the evening and say, I want to thank you very much. And they go off to some other life. But I said, something's wrong here. Something's really wrong. Can't have happened. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Our exciting adventures and boldest endeavors have not yet begun. My fellow Americans, for our movement, for our children, and for our beloved country. And I say this, despite all that's happened, the best is yet to come. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, the Democrats are hopeless. They're never voting for anything. Not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride, boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all for being here. This is incredible. Thank you very much.
What is the point of sending your protesters? What is the point of sending your protesters to the Capitol building if not to try to halt the certification of the votes? Destiny, isn't there a fairly logical argument that the closer you are to the thing you're protesting, the more powerful / pressuring the message is? Like protesting some government action would make the most sense outside the government building responsible for that action, no? Yes, I agree with you. The protest is of the election, and the action is to overthrow the election results. I don't know how to. I have to figure this out. I learned this during my Israel-Palestine stuff, and I've known this in the past. I don't know how to figure this out. I have to think. I will. I'm going to set aside some time to think at night about this. Okay. I can do this. I can figure this out. Someone in chat said, at Destiny, Trump quote from Jan 6th. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. I don't know how to argue with people that give me a single quote and pretend that that single quote can stand in contrast to the billion things or actions around it. It's happened a lot with the Israel-Palestine stuff, where it's like, what about this one quote? I need to develop like a quick rhetorical, because we all know that this is a stupid way to try to assert anything, that you would never try to, explain this thing. Well, here's a quote. Yeah, I don't know how to, I'll figure, I just have to think about why people do that, and I have to figure out like a decent counter to it. I can probably think of something. JD and YouTube chat is spazzing the out. Well, tell them to jump on the Discord. Criminal referrals to the Department of Justice regarding President Trump and certain other individuals. The criminal referrals build upon 3 relevant rulings issued. Oh, we read this. The report also contains sections identifying how the committee has evaluated the credibility of its witnesses and suggests that the Department of Justice further examine possible efforts to obstruct our investigation. We also know that more than 30 witnesses invoked their Fifth Amendment privileges against self-incrimination. Others invoked executive privilege or categorically refused to appear, including Steve Bannon, who has since been convicted of contempt of Congress. Finally, this report identifies a series of legislative recommendations, including the Presidential Election Reform Act, which has already passed the House of Representatives. What was it? This is the thing about like the vice president not like shut up, right? At Destiny, what would it take for you to change your mind about January 6th being an insurrection? Points of relating to Donald Trump. Well, if somebody could show me that Donald Trump expected the protests to be only peaceful, or he expected them never to go inside the building, or that he took some type of action to stop things once people were informing him of what was going on and asking him to do anything. The problem is, like, you're asking me what would it take to change my mind. There are things, but like the things I'm listing right now, I don't even think they're real. We just have so much information about everything surrounding this. It would be like, what would it take to convince you that, like, you know, that you weren't born in 1988 to, you know, Stephen Bonnell and Mary Gonzalez? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, there are facts out there. Like, if somebody showed me like a different birth certificate, or like, I don't know. I mean, like there are facts out there that would do it. Or like I could conceive of some, but I don't think they exist. Like, Destiny brainwashed, so sad. Okay, Outreamer, you want to jump onto Discord? Any of you guys want to jump on? No, notice that, like, here's what I'll say. I'm not even going to ban you guys, actually. I'll leave you around because you just reinforce my point. Anytime somebody says I'm brainwashed, I'm partisan, I'm deep down the whatever bullshit, notice that that's all they can say. Give me another fact. I thought you guys loved alternative facts, right? Isn't that what you call them? Give me another fact. Give me something that I'm not taking into account, something that I'm not considering. If you've got something that I'm not, then throw it in. If you're just going to sit here and mold, okay, like a little fucking poop your diaper baby bitch, okay, like Donald Trump does, then mold. But like that's okay. I want to see you. I want to see you molding. Okay. Capitol Police literally led people into the Capitol. Why do you still make that rumor up? That's not true. Firstly, so if you're, I mean, like we've watched all these videos. Capitol Police barricade, top view. Like we can watch this. Because there was a really misleading video that showed like somebody lifting a gate up for people to come through. But if you have the bird's eye view, you could literally see that like, bro, they were already like past it. Fuck, I wish I had saved all these videos. Let's see if I can... Somebody link me the one. There was a video that some people were spreading saying, look at them opening the barricades. Capitol Police open barricades. I wonder if any of these videos are even on YouTube anymore. Fuck me, bro. Search in your history? Bro, this was like 2 years ago. Travis Lamb wants to join. It says he has to wait 10 minutes. It wasn't a bird's eye view. It was just a longer video. No, I think it was a bird's eye view video, I thought, that showed like from the top down that like... I think they're talking about once they were inside and acted like tour guides. Yeah, we can move to that one if you want. Once they were inside, the police were leading them around. Yeah, because they didn't have the manpower to fight everybody off. Better to walk people through and like move people into other areas where lawmakers aren't, right? This is the same thing that riot police do in cities. When you've got a crowd that's violent, you don't confront the crowd and go and fucking beat the shit out of everybody. Usually you try to what's the word I'm looking for? You court them off in an area, you lock them off in an area, you let them do their shit, and then eventually they go home. This is how every single large-scale crowd management goes in literally the entirety of the United States. All of it, every time. You never, in the entire, all of BLM, all of everything else, it's not like a crowd is here, the police are here, and it's like, charge, like you're in the fucking Dark Knight Rises. This never happens. And they all fucking, like start fighting. You put them in an area, you tell them to fucking go home, eventually you'll start shooting tear gas and shit, but yeah, you never run out and fight. That never happens, ever. Cope harder? As opposed to what? As opposed to, you think the one officer? Hold on. So your statement here, where are you? I want you in Discord right now, okay? What should he have done? Should he have taken out his gun and started shooting? Should he have just closed the door? Should he have just stood there and blocked them? Tell me, where are the copers in YouTube chat? Tell me how you would have dealt with the situation. Closing the door is a great start, yeah. Okay, so closing the door against a ton of protesters that had already broken down doors and windows to get into the Capitol building would have been like the start.
All right. Okay, so right before he picks up his collapsible baton or drops it, he's standing at a doorway and you have the mob entering the doorway, and he is retreating. He's backing up. So he picks up his...
Does he not have pepper spray? Bro, how effective is it like an AoE, like mass stun that you can pepper spray infinitely like a paint can, like a whole... What are you talking about?
Baton, and he's going up the steps. And... it's very interesting that, which I did not pick up on when I first watched it. And it is quite reasonable to assume that he is leading them up the steps, kind of like, follow me, follow me, follow me. And I just froze it where he glances over at the top of the steps, and he glances over at I guess that's the Senate chamber, which is really interesting. So he pushes there's the one man who's wearing the black t-shirt and the hat and the sleeves, and he pushes him to get him to kind of follow him along. Incredible situational awareness, and I guess, perhaps that's from being in the military and just being a cop.
It's like, it's so stupid that like, it's so obvious what's happening. But then like, you guys will look at it like, oh no, I need my man. Like, it's like.
For so long, but clearly in pushing him, the lead rider, he is attempting to get him to follow along with him. So it's very interesting. And when he's backing away, when someone's retreating because they don't want to get hurt, the best way to do so is to turn your back and run. And that's not what he does, right? So he's facing them and he's walking backwards. So clearly, like, he's just really trying to distract them and to get them to come along. It's rather incredible whenever you watch it, slowly, frame by frame.
I'm not gonna be able to find all the stupid Twitter videos that were running around that day because I don't know if they've been all deleted. Because like, all you have to do is back up like a little bit. If it was a really popular video, why is it being suppressed and so hard to find now? Because most of these people deleted their shit because they were wrong. Like, this is an example of that. As in, when you go back like a little bit more, like, the guy is motioning for other cops to come back in. Is it this cop here? Oh, right here. Like, you can see that he's like talking to police officers. He's like bringing them back. But like in this video cut here, because of the angles, it looks like he's bringing in protesters. This is every single one of the videos you retards tried to promote this day, saying like, oh no, they were letting us in and inviting us in. Like, every single one of these had like, as soon as like a second or third angle was brought in, it was like, oh shit, that was totally fake. But you retards won't even stop to reconsider for a moment. Like, hold on, am I making shit up? And then you'll have like 15 videos, like 13 of them will get debunked. 2 of them won't have like a second video available. Like, oh well, those 2 are our proof of what we were saying. This was a huge one that you retards spread around as well. We're like, oh look, they let him in. But there is a bird's eye view video of this. There's a bird's eye view video of this where you can see that they'd already gotten all the way around. They were just bringing the officers back. And it's so obvious too, because it's like, how did this guy even get the footage? Let it finish.
Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
I remember going through all this bullshit. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, oh, like the internet makes more information available to us. It'll be harder than ever to like fool people. And it was like, nope. Even with like full video evidence, you retards will run out and tell lies. Remember to save the videos. I don't think saving the videos are going to matter as much because it's not like I'm going to be able to show videos like during, I'm not going to be able to show videos like during my debate. What were the evidential requirements that you needed for believing Donald Trump did an insurrection? First of all, at this point, I think Donald Trump knowingly incited a riot, which is something I would say probably would never criminally charge here because of the free speech threats and blah, 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 blah. I feel like there's enough. I read quite a bit of this report off stream though, so, but like basically, Donald Trump knew what would happen. He knew that people had weapons. He knew that people were riled up. He gave a speech to rile them up. He told them to go to the Capitol, tweeted at Pence on all this shit, blah, 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 blah. Like, Donald Trump's goal, knowingly, mens rea, he knew the entire time that these people were going to go there, probably to be violent. At the very least, we're trying to get the election results not certified. He asked Pence as much. Like, I feel like he meets the requirements for, like, insurrection, like, in 4 different ways. This is, like, not even close. It's like we're so far past, like everything. It's, like, unreal. The waiting room is still locked. There's somebody, Travis Lamb. This is, like, I only have time for one more of these today. F me. Wait, join General Lobby or General Lobby 2. Go for it, and I'll drag you in, buddy. How do people mental gymnastics their way out of Trump stealing a bunch of classified documents on the way out of the White House? Well, they do it with they compare it to other politicians sometimes having classified material. I feel like it was like an angle like this. I see you winding, grinding. It's not this fucking thing. How doors and windows were breached? Isn't there footage of them breaking the doors and windows? What? There was like 50 million people streaming this entire f***ing event.
We will take that duty!
Why shouldn't, like, do you think that, I think one of the things I don't like about the New York Times is they probably edited out this part because right after this, I'm sure everybody ran up to him and was like, hold on, Donald Trump said peaceful protests, guys, right?
Capitol Police leaders in Washington and none of the police are so outnumbered, they're forced to retreat again to more tightly and asks other Capitol leaders to mean prepared.
They're throwing backpack.
Chemical spray. 30 minutes, the police already have casualties. Grounds
I think we watched this whole video on stream when it came out, right? Like a couple years ago.
The 20th of the bill. West is what that is. Forward.
Oh, this was the footage where they said that the one guy was like waving them in, I think. Was it around here?
South. West now surrounded. It's a brutal fight on these steps.
Jesus.
Direct access to Capitol entrances. The scene from countless angles, allowing us to piece together moment by moment what comes next. Proud Boy Dominic Pizzola uses a police shield he stole to bash in a window.
I can't cover this shit. Like the guided tour people, bro. I'm gonna go like worse than Hassan on you people. Oh my god, like you wouldn't even get a chance for the re-education camp. You'd go right to the gulags. Like it would just be over for you to even have this. Like what is happening in your brain?
What to do and backs off. Sparks is followed by Proud Boys and other far-right extremists. One carrying a Confederate flag, another armed with a baseball bat. When rioters break open the locked doors, hundreds more rush in.
Like this is so stupid. I don't know why the fuck we're watching this. Like, how could you think that it was a guided tour and that nothing was broken? But then also simultaneously have really strong opinions on it. Did you just not watch any of the live streams, any of the videos, any of the media reporting, any of the police reporting, any of the congressional statements, any of the like? What world do you even live in?
Biggs, what you gotta say?
This is awesome, he says in front of the judge. 17 years.
This is a critical moment.
So I'm only repeating what I've heard, so I could be wrong, okay, as a heads up. But my understanding is Tucker Carlson literally put together like a highlight video of everything to show that absolutely none of this shit happened on January 6th as well. And you retarded feces-eating fucking like Downies actually ate it the up. And like that video like spread like crazy through conservative spheres. Do you think they would have actually killed them? Anybody in Congress? The only correct answer to would they have killed them is who knows. The problem is, like, these types of situations are highly dynamic and anything can happen once these things start to get crazy. And this has already gotten crazy, right? So, like, would they have killed anybody? For sure. I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not. But, like, could somebody have gotten killed? Maybe. Like, who the knows? But like these situations could get so fucking crazy. We could imagine tons of scenarios where they could have, and a lot of scenarios where they wouldn't have, where they just, you know, lock up Pelosi in a room and smell her socks all day, or whatever weird shit these guys do, you know, and then eventually the National Guard shows up and they leave. But like, who the knows? Like the idea that like lawmakers would be in the hands of these types of people that are only there because Trump told them to go there is like, it's like insane. I shouldn't be talking to this person. Okay, when I do these for the next few days, no more debates on this shit, okay? I need to finish reading this. Okay, hello?
Hello, hello.
All right, what's up?
Nothing, you wanted to pull me in.
Well, because you were talking shit in chat.
Let's see. Hold on, sorry, I'm sick. Give me 1 second. Alright, so the reason I'm talking shit is because you go at this topic just very negatively, and it feels like you let a lot of your feelings towards conservatives kind of push you against actually like looking at the facts in a fair and legit way.
Okay, can you give me a single example of me unfairly analyzing a fact?
Okay, a lot of times I've heard you say in the past that like you shouldn't look for motive in situations where there is none. And I feel like, especially with like the Trump thing, a lot of the stuff you were, hold on, I'm sorry. A lot of the stuff that you are writing down is like his plan to overthrow the election is not really a plan. Just the mere fact that they use that as a point seems kind of silly, because he did not have some secret plan to overthrow. He did not refuse to.
Okay, factual argument.
Factual.
Factual. Was Trump
Yes.
taking steps to overturn the results of the election?
Was he? I don't believe so.
When Donald Trump asked Mike Pence.
Hold on.
No, hold on. When Donald Trump asked Mike Pence, do not certify the election results and throw them back to the states, what does that mean?
Let's look into that. Why don't we? Because I feel like a lot of things you're saying that you know for a fact what exactly was said, and I don't think that is exactly how it was stated. So if you want to go over those, I'm more than happy to go over these facts with you. Okay. But it feels like a lot of these things.
Wait. You're the one operating on feelings because you're retarded. Okay?
No.
Michael, stop saying. Don't say this feels like this, or I feel like you're doing this, blah, 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 blah. I just want to deal in only fact. Only fact. So don't tell me you think my narrative's bad. Just only fact. If you want to read into the Pence stuff right now, we can spend 5 minutes looking at the Pence stuff if you want right now.
Let's do that. Okay. But don't do the soy voice on me. Like, geez, this is
you're
exactly
the one
what I'm talking about. No. You come at me with a soy voice, and I have not done anything to deserve that. I'm trying to.
Okay. Listen to me, okay? I'm doing this very, very, very by the book, okay? This is the only type of conversation I'm gonna have. And if you don't like it, get the fuck out or leave forever, okay? We're gonna go fact by fact, okay? I don't wanna hear broad statements like, well, I think that you got the narrative right, blah, 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 blah. Just fact by fact, okay? I don't need to hear, okay, from your voice, okay, the genetic imprint that Donald Trump's semen has left in you. Just fact by fact, okay? So, very carefully, okay?
Hold on, can you pause for 2 seconds and listen to me, please?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I am not a Trump supporter.
I don't care.
Okay,
my bad. Okay, then you're not a Trump supporter. Then I take back all of it. You don't support Trump.
Can you just let me speak for 2 seconds? I'm not a Trump supporter. I respect you as a political person. I listen to you all the time. I'm literally trying to talk to you, and the attitude you're giving me right now is the exact thing that I was accusing you of when I first came in here.
Yeah, the frustrating part for me is that I do all this work to gather all of this data, and somehow I still have 55 IQ people like you wandering in and going like, I feel like you're just using your feelings and you have a bunch of narratives. Why can't you join the room and go, hey, Destiny, I disagree that was planned because you said that he told Pence to do this, and actually, he didn't tell Pence to do this. He only communicated this to his chief of staff. He actually never talked to Pence. Then I'd be like, oh, that's a fact. Let's deal with it in research. But that's not what you have. Instead, you're giving me this whole fucking soy prepared speech of how I'm misrepresenting or blah, 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 without a single fucking thing to talk about.
No, but how about this? Here, I'll show you an example. What do you know for a fact that Trump said to Pence before we look at these?
My understanding is that
I'm
telling you right now, I'm literally speaking right now. I don't know the exact words that Donald Trump said to Pence. My understanding is that what Donald Trump communicated after learning from Eastman that there was a legal theory maybe that Vice President Pence can overturn the vote, that Donald Trump told people close to him that Pence can overturn the vote, and that Donald Trump gave a speech outside of the Capitol saying Pence is going to overturn the vote because we know that Pence can do it based on that Eastman legal theory.
It kind of sounds like you're doing the exact same thing you just accused me of. You're going at something without knowing exactly what happened.
We literally just read the speech and listened to Donald Trump saying Mike Pence can come through and save our democracy by overturning the vote. Do you want me to link you the transcript to the speech that we just listened to him give outside the Capitol?
Hold on, stop. Trump thinking Mike Pence can do something is not prove that he had a plan to overthrow the election. You realize that, right? He can be wrong and he can be a idiot, but that doesn't change the fact, that doesn't make him have some type of malicious intent behind him not being factually correct.
Okay, if Donald Trump, why is Donald Trump saying this on this speech?
Maybe because he genuinely believes it. That is also a thing that can happen.
I agree with you. He genuinely believes it because this theory has been presented to him in the past. He's talked to legal counsel around him about it, and then he gave a speech where he publicly admonished Pence if he wasn't going to do it. Pence is going to do, he's going to save us. And then he tweeted as much later that Pence failed us. What part of you doesn't satisfy that he knew in advance the legal theory, he stated it out loud what he wanted Pence to do in his speech, and then when Pence didn't follow through, he tweeted that Pence failed to overturn the election? Like, what part are we not satisfying here? What do you need to see? Tell me what you need to see.
Okay, wait, listen. If Trump actually believed that Mike Pence could do this, let's say Mike Pence actually could do the thing that Trump thinks that he could, is that wrong?
Yes.
If a vice president has the power to do this, then clearly that is something that is allowed, right?
Just because something's allowed doesn't make it wrong.
Being wrong, if it's a part of their.
It's also allowed, for instance, that the Senate might never want to hear your appointment for a Supreme Court pick. It's also allowed that you pull the nuclear option and you do the cloture shit and you make it so you only need 51 votes to appoint or nominate any federal people. Like, there's a lot of things that are quote unquote allowed, or might be it would technically be allowed to amend the Constitution to bring back slavery. It would be allowed. Like, there's a lot of things that might be allowed or norms, but they're breaking at the very least, the spirit of what the American democratic process is supposed to be about. So whether or not whether even this even allowed.
Last time I checked, that's not illegal, though. That's the thing. That's the difference. Just because Trump is an idiot and doesn't know or doesn't have his facts right doesn't mean that is somehow planned over for the election. That's another thing that I have an issue with.
Hold on, no, don't jump to another thing. I'm banning you if you do that. Don't do this. Stay on the one fact.
I'm
don't jump around.
I'm not jumping.
Okay,
Continue.
so on this very clear point, okay, do you think that if Donald Trump says Pence can throw away the election results, that if through some esoteric legal theory that's allowed, do you think that's an okay thing then, as long as that might be technically allowed?
If the vice president has the power to do that, then I don't see why that's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
good.
no conversation.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. How are you doing today? What's up?
Good. Doing my editing. I've been listening to your January 6th stuff. It's actually good content.
It's not good content. It's like it is some of the most hyper-partisan shit I've ever seen in my entire life. It blows my fucking mind.
Yeah,
Holy
but it seems
shit.
like it should be like pretty easy.
It is pretty easy, but because of like the political parties are involved, it's like getting progressives to admit that maybe like riots in cities aren't a good look, and they like can't do it because of the partisan shit.
I was out with friends, and one of them, this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so before you're doing this, and one of them was like, well, yeah, most of the protesters were like peaceful on January 6th or whatever, and I was like, I didn't really have like an own for that, but I guess like the own is what you said earlier.
Most of the BLM protesters were peaceful, but like the rioting part is not okay, and you shouldn't support the rioting part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Although you can argue that even the entire protest really was probably unethical on J6, because what the fuck are they even protesting? The legitimate certification of the results of the election?
What if people genuinely believed that the election was like quote unquote rigged and there was like billions of votes? Do you not think that they have the right to go and protest at the bare minimum?
I think that there is an argument there, but then the problem is, one, Donald Trump, who knowingly lied to everybody, which I think is like a foregone conclusion at this point. The conservative media that knowingly propagated a lie. They knew it was a lie and they propagated it. And then, I don't know, do we not have any responsibility on citizens whatsoever to do any type of fact checking whatsoever? Because like, if I were to say this thing to, conservatives would never grant the same on the other side. What if there were BLM people that legitimately thought they had to, terrorize a police station to save black lives that were getting mowed down by cops? They would never say like, well, okay, I guess I can understand if they really thought that. They'd never grant that. They would say like, oh no, these people have been propagandized and they're crazy. These people are like, they hate white people and blah, blah, blah. So why the fuck would I grant these, 350-pound fucking retards, by the way, whose only saving grace from the fact that 6 people weren't killed on January 6th, it was only 1, is because so many of them were so fucking fat and methed the fuck out that they just dropped dead because of how excited they were to be there for Daddy Trump during his attempted fucking coup? No, that's wild. Why the fuck would I grant that much when they wouldn't grant anything to the other side on any of this shit? No, that's ridiculous. There should be some base level of responsibility of like, hey, like what type of factual information should we know before we go and try to overthrow the fucking government? Like, you'd think you would want to know quite a bit before going into that. It would be my assumption.
Yeah, I get that. Do you feel like there should be something done about like, I mean, for example, Tucker Carlson just like throwing out obvious fake shit? Like, is there anything that can be done around that, or is that just like free speech protection?
It's absolutely free speech and protection, but like other people need to be more aggressive, I think, in combating it. For too long, like the far left basically said, like, you can't talk to these people, you can't communicate with them, it's not worth doing any factual shit, just like ban them and censor them from everything, which I think has been like a huge mistake. Although social media platforms at least are turning around on that, or have turned around on that, but
Yeah, I'm sure there were some good people out there on the 6th, but I would say like 99% of them were fucking grade A retards.
Yeah, but I mean, like, fuck me, fuck, I hate this. I hate everything around this. Donald Trump literally tweeted out the day before, the vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors. Like,
do we have a consensus on that? Is there like there hasn't been anything legal that's like came forward to like the Supreme Court if this is like true or not, right?
Wait, that what's true?
That like there is a legal that
that the Pence actually could?
Yeah. I know Pence didn't because he probably thinks he can't.
I think it's still
chose not to.
Yeah, I think it was like a debated thing. Like I don't know if legal experts know if he could have or couldn't have. It's like there's a lot of apparently there's a lot of untested legal ground with the way that the United States government is structured, where people might be able to do crazy shit, but like generally you just never do that. You don't know. But I guess like just to make sure, like after the election, Congress passed a law to clarify and make sure that there's no way a vice president could do that. But
okay, so now it's like 100% clarified.
Yeah, because Congress actually passed a law to like patch that 1,000,000%. Yeah,
got it. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Pence would have done it if he thought he could?
I think Pence is an American hero. I think Pence is a patriot who believes, unironically, every step of the way. I think Pence
was pretty classy about it.
Not pretty classy. Pence was a patriot who took an oath to the Constitution, and I think for every part of his vice presidency, I think that he tried his best to adhere to that oath to the Constitution, from what I could see. And I think that was shining in the last week or two of Trump being an unhinged fucking loser, and during the final days of the election as well, or the night of the election as well.
Who is Trump going to take as his VP?
Who the f knows? Whoever
Tucker Carlson?
Yeah, his prison cellmate maybe. Who knows?
Jesus Christ. How is Nikki Haley doing? Is she like coming up yet?
She has no chance. She can't climb, but I would be shocked. Let me do my bullshit assessment. I would be shocked if she ever got more than like 30 to 35% of Republican polls. I'd be shocked. That'd be my guess. But I could be wrong. We'll see.
Would you be shocked if Trump won versus Biden?
Versus Biden, I would be shocked if he won versus Biden, yeah. He already lost once. That'd be wild.
That would be wild.
I have to do a whole day of like meditation and psychological prep to deal with like the level of debauchery that the average conservative has when it comes to defending Trump at all costs for something that is so clearly and obviously fucking incorrect. Yeah, I have to I need like preparation for that. I can't deal with the unhinged insanity that are Republicans trying to explain why Donald Trump sending protesters to the Capitol in the hopes of overturning the election results is actually an okay thing or a neutral thing. I can't. Okay, let me just keep reading this. Both of those retards said they don't support Trump. There seems to be zero Trump supporter. I don't believe when people say that anymore. I don't even know. Because everybody will say that shit. I don't support Trump. I don't blah, 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 blah. But then when you're like, oh, well, who would you vote for? Like that one guy was like, I'm voting for Biden to accelerate the housing club. Bullshit. That guy's voting for Trump 100%. Or people are like, I'm just an independent. I don't know who I'll vote for. Blah, blah, blah. But then you go to their Twitter and like every single tweet is attacking the woke leftists, the crazy people, and they're saying how unfair the whole media's treatment of Trump is. And it's like, okay, dude. I've seen so many of these people. But also, there might be some out there also as well. Who knows? Okay. The VP can toss out votes, then why didn't Al Gore toss out electoral votes and take office when he lost the election? Paste and true. It's not on this one. If something is not illegal, it can't be an insurrection. If something's not illegal, it can't be an insurrection. That's not true. We could think of theoretically legal ways to coup the government. I'm pretty sure technically, I need to go back and read more of the context, but I'm pretty sure technically the Enabling Act that was passed in Germany, was that not done more or less according to their legal things before they started rolling back all the protections and everything? This is not Germany. It doesn't matter. We could easily imagine, let's say, for instance, Congress passed a law saying all the power now to make any decision you want is going to be vested in the President of the United States. He can be leader as long as he wants. He can pass whatever law he wants. He can do whatever he wants. If Congress passed that law, then you would say what the fuck? We just got our shit just got legally cooed, right? That's you could. It would be hard to imagine that because why would Congress vote for that? But you can imagine, you can envision ways of using the process to theoretically coup the government. It's possible. Especially when we're nibbling around the edges on weird esoteric legal theory, can the vice president single-handedly throw back all of the certified votes to the states? right? I like how all of you, I like how even engaging with this delusional fuck argument is already giving you guys too much ground that I should even take seriously the idea that like, oh yeah, the vice president throwing away all the electoral votes, like that, well, as long as it's legal, blah, blah, when this has never been done in the history of the entire United States, okay? Like, it's already a stupid, you're already standing on like autistic ground to even try to have this conversation. Like, also, I don't even know if that's legally possible. I don't even know what the legal consensus was at the time. People thought that it was a legitimately, an actual thing that the vice president had the power to do.
Obviously, no one can say because it isn't words.
Doesn't have to be violent to count as an insurrection by definition? I don't know. I don't think it has to be violent to be a coup. You can have a bloodless coup. I feel like I've heard this before. Then what would be your solution if there are major issues with voting? There was no evidence that there were major issues with voting. Do you understand that? That is a brainworm that exists between you and Trump voters. No real human being thought there were issues with voting. If you thought there were issues with voting, there are ways to seek remedy, and that was through the court system. And they tried, and almost every single one of those videos that you slurped up was proven false in federal court. I brought up earlier that ballot box under the thing, and I saw some people memeing here. That ballot box under the table was reviewed by a federal judge, and there's another fucking video of them bringing in that box like 6 fucking hours earlier. Every single weird conspiracy shit that you thought never happened. It wasn't true. You were being misled by YouTube videos like a 6-year-old. Just like all the things you said about the vaccine aren't true. People aren't dropping dead and suddenly every single day. Everybody isn't walking around with vaccine-related injuries. Everybody didn't like develop super fucking COVID because they said that ADE or whatever the fuck, attenuated virus adaptation or whatever bullshit. Like nothing, none of what you guys don't live in reality. You just don't. I'm getting too triggered. I wasn't ready to deal with conservative brain rot today. I just didn't come ready for it. I'm not emotionally ready. Canada didn't close every single person's bank accounts. The United States didn't do fucking vaccine requirements to go into restaurants forever. The entire world didn't do vaccine passports for every single person. A whole new list of upgraded vaccines required for every American never happened. Every single prediction that conservatives have made about what Democrats or progressives or the system would do after everything, all of it was wrong. But like you still come up here with like the 2 or 3 things that haven't been like 100% refuted. And you're like, well, what about that thing? Like, it's so desperate and pathetic. They tried to go to court, but I actually didn't see anything thrown out to do with the merits. I may be wrong, but damn, the generalizations suck. It's not left versus right, but I like the rant format. It is, no. Stop saying I don't like generalizations. If you're a Trump fucking supporter, okay, you're full on. You are the most generalized, brain-dead fucking moron in the fucking world. I love you, Mom, if you're listening, but holy shit. They tried to go to court, but I actually didn't see anything thrown out on the merits. You know what? I don't even like that argument. And I don't think anybody in the legal world should have ever, I think that needs to be clarified more for the public. When people say that wasn't thrown out on the merits, that was thrown out on standing, okay, so it doesn't count, bullshit, motherfucker. Standing is an incredibly important part of the legal process. And the idea that standing doesn't matter, like, I'm sorry, but why the fuck should the state of Texas have the right to sue any other state on how they run their elections? That is like expressly delegated to each and every state. Like the standing part is important there. If a state wants to challenge it or somebody wants to challenge it through the state, they have the right to do that. But no, standing is an incredibly important part of the legal process. Otherwise, anybody could sue anything for anybody at any point in time, ever, right? Standing is important. If you don't like it, get a better lawyer, I guess. Not my fault that every single lawyer that Trump surrounded himself with, Cohen, Giuliani, every other person ends up backstabbing or he backstabs them or is a fucking joke, okay? Maybe at some point, here's the issue too. Here's like the scariest thing, okay? A normal human being, all right, when you're like, damn, the courts threw out all of our arguments. Nobody on, it seems like nobody in government believes our arguments. None of Trump's friends believe his arguments. None of Trump's cabinet members believe his arguments. Trump's own AG doesn't believe his arguments. None of the old Trump supporters believe his arguments. It must be the deep state controls all the government, yeah, and the deep state also controls the economy and all the media, except for Fox News for some reason, which is the largest, media outlet. Well, but sometimes they control Fox News, like when they called the election early, but they didn't control Fox News when Tucker Carlson was on there. But like at some point, can't just be like, instead of having all this, you just go, Trump was kind of fucking retarded and was probably wrong about almost everything he talked about. And then once you're like, oh, well, fuck, I guess if you just take that perspective, every single thing kind of makes a lot of sense. It's all like really simple. Oh, the election wasn't stolen. Trump just lost because people voted, and for a variety of reasons, they voted more for Biden than for Trump. It's not really that hard to imagine. Especially even with your own narratives. You could even cope with your own narratives. Well, the reason why Trump lost is because all the media said that he was so bad, and that's what inflamed people to hate him so much. Okay, go with that. Fine, maybe, Get Rikita to steelman the standing arguments? Maybe, if I want to go and like actually read in depth of them. But you know what? At the end of the day, just like I'll say to Pisco when it comes to Paulson's paper, you know, about the sweeping power of self-executing amendment, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, what matters is what a judge says. So I don't know why I would give a fuck what a lawyer says. The judges have already overruled him. Like, I'm sure he has his perspective, his opinion, but listen, you know, it was challenged, it was peeled, it was shut down at multiple levels. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, you can have your legal perspective or opinion on it. That's fine. But like, at the end of the day, you know, the judges rule, federal appointed judges, and not federal appointed judges, I'm sorry, Trump federally appointed judges ruled and they disagreed. So yeah, you want me to like spend like 3 days like digging into all of the legal standing arguments? I could, but why the fuck would I waste my time? I think it was around here. Look at the video title 228. It shows the line breaking. I feel like it was around here where they opened the gate and people are like, oh, they let him in, but you can see there are like tons of people on both sides. Why are we doing Jan 6 research? I'm supposed to debate Alex Jones, but apparently I'm just screaming at chat all day. Getting fucking triggered. Can you see it? I don't think you can see them opening the gate here.
You know you're going to read chat tomorrow.
No, I have to stop engaging on this. It's such a waste of time. Because like, it's not like, it's not even worth what I'm doing right now. Because no conservative watching this is going to change their mind on any of this shit anyway. Like, they don't even know what they're referencing. Why would they change their mind if I reference something different? It's not like none of their beliefs are rooted in like any of the factual matters of what happened this day. So why would it even matter to like argue with them individually? I should just be preparing to put up a good, also I have to flesh out like my rhetoric and everything too. So I'm not like unhinged. This video got huge. This is one of the big videos that went around where people were showing the police let them in. And the people were trying to say that this video here is an example of like...
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh,
the police finally open the gates and they allow the protesters to come in. But there's a wider shot of this thing that shows that there were tons of protests on the left and right. It's not even an important video. We've already seen enough to establish my point. But I know there was a wide shot of this thing.
And they just reached the Capitol again.
Again, showing, because like you can even see them in the wider video here. Like you can even see here that they're all over the place, right? But there's a wider shot video of this particular thing that showed how stupid that this video was.
Did Dr. Eastman say whether he would want other vice presidents such as Al Gore after the 2000 election or Kamala Harris after the 2024 election to have the power to decide the outcome of the election?
So this was one of the many points that we discussed on January 5th. He had come into that meeting trying to persuade us that there was some validity to his theory. I viewed it as my objective to persuade him to acknowledge he was just wrong. And I thought this had to be one of the most powerful arguments. I mean, John, back in 2000, you weren't jumping up and saying Al Gore had this authority to do that. You would not want Kamala Harris to be able to exercise that kind of authority in 2024 when I hope Republicans will win the election, and I know you hope that too, John. And he said, absolutely. Al Gore did not have a basis to do it in 2000. Kamala Harris shouldn't be able to do it in 2024, but I think you should do it today.
Jesus. Oh shit, maybe it wasn't a bird's eye view video, maybe it was just this thread of him talking about it and explaining it. And then the extra pictures that he had, actually, that might have been it. I thought there was a video, but maybe I'm hallucinating. Seeing this video go around a lot, it's pretty clear that there were Trump supporters already on the other side. As the camera swings around, you can literally see these people just walking around the barriers, because this was the tweet. They didn't breach or storm the Capitol building, they were let in. And then he points out beneath here with a couple extra pictures. There was a video. I feel like I watched one, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just crazy. But then he points out, like right below, to make it extra clear the perimeter was not doing anything, and there were already Trump supporters simply walking around it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and because this was the huge video that was going viral. One of them that was showing they were letting him in, bro.
Here.
Yeah, you can see them all over here. I think this must have been the video. It was this.
Oh, the cops are just letting him in. It was already breached. Posting this video, okay? This perimeter wasn't protecting anything, and it was already breached. People were already on the other side. Look, people acting like
This was it, I'm pretty sure. It must have been this. I think this was
the
it.
cops are just letting them in, and I think Hassan told Slasher that, oh, the cops just let them in. This perimeter was already reached. Look at this.
Wait, did Hassan really say that? Was Hassan using that they just let him in too?
Watch. There's already people inside. There's already inside. Why are you acting like the cops are just letting them in? They're already. This perimeter's already reached, and I don't think there's anything important being protected here. Like, look, people were literally just walking around this fucking gate, guys. This wasn't like holding anything back. Look at the. Like, are you even watching? And some people are being more dishonest apparently, and they're posting like 6-second clips of this.
Oh, that's probably what I'm hearing then. Yeah, if people are posting like 6-second clips of this, maybe. Maybe. Oh, I remember. Yeah. The lefty take this day was that the cops were letting people in and being nice because all the cops were white nationalists. This was the day the cops were hated by everybody because the right now hate the police because they weren't helping them coup the government, and then the left were like, oh, the reason why they're not shooting and killing them all is because they're all white. I remember this. True. Ripperino, cappuccino, pappuccino, hoppuccino, moppuccino, dappuccino, cappuccino, appuccino, alpuccino, my dirty guys. I will catch you guys, hopefully, tomorrow.